Welcome to the show, ladies and gentlemen. Dan sits down, where I answer questions about the world, tell you things about the world, and how it really works. Because I will explain how A, shit is fucked up, B, shit is not what you were taught. None of this is what any of us was taught. And I'll be ranting and raving about other shit too, stuff supposedly these humans do, what we do to each other, just ignorant shit, how we share our world. We're not alone here. I'm not exactly talking about aliens, like, coming in, like, I'm talking about you, like us already, like, figured out immortality, longevity, thousands of years ago, and we're like living in the remnants of it. I mean, there's advanced technology all around us that we take every day for granted, like, hey, it's there. And there's things that, like, don't make sense at all about the world. The one thing that we can pretty much agree on is, like, at the very least, you know, without anybody throwing around the C word, calling other people crazy, you know, right? Like, he denies, put him in there. You know, and then they send you off to a mental institution or some other place where, like, just weird shit happens, man. And they feed you a bunch of drugs, you know, these, you know, little pills. You get a pill. It's like and you get a handful of them. They're different colors, different sizes. And, I mean, it's kind of like food, right? Like this. This to me is food. These are called bananas. They grow from a thing behind me. It's called a tree. This is a hat. I'm wearing a hat. Yeah. Okay. So I drink the milk. One thing that we have figured out is that man. All right. So there's a couple of unexplained things. First, 2 shows ago, I talked about, like, oh, what the fuck these pilgrims got over here, and they're all like, man, they had it easy. They feed us this story about the pilgrims had to meet the Indians and blah 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 blah, and they didn't have no food, and the Indians showed them how to put a, you know, different. I don't even want to share this knowledge anymore. Now I know what it was for, but, like, so they tell you to put a fish in the corn, put in a dead fish with that fucking corn, and it'll grow really good. Now, as chemically what's going on there, you might be taught one thing and then actually another thing's happening. In my experience, I don't know what you are, but in my experience, pretty much all, like, man, you start mixing foods like that, like, I mean, I'll let a mosquito bite me and get full of blood and then watch it go fly into some other animal's mouth, like a squirrel, okay? So, you know, like, if you want to kind of, like, you know, take a step back from what you were taught and listen to a guy that was taught pretty much fucking everything and then takes, like, an analysis of everything in terms of, like, well, something like this smells a little fishy. Like, why does that mosquito go fly into the squirrel's mouth, and why is the squirrel, like it knows, like it's waiting? That doesn't make any fucking sense, man. So, like, you know, there's the G word that gets thrown around. Oh, yeah, and cheese. This is called cheese. This is probably the best thing. Like, this comes from the cow. A cow's like a 4-legged animal. Yeah, I know it sounds crazy to explain what the hell a cow is, and it has like 4 stomachs, and it just eats grass. So we don't really, I mean, it's obstructed. It's obstructed technology. Everything you see around you. Okay, so, and then another thing with, like, with the wasp, how it just packs in spiders. So you get this wasp that, like, it doesn't live in this tube, the mud dauber, or whatever the hell you want to call it, man. It's this flying insect with 6 wings that looks like perfectly adapted for everything. It's super agile. It has a stinger with neurotoxin in it. So that's what paralyzes. Paralyzes its prey. But it's like, fucking thing ain't really eating. You don't really see them eating too much. Like, they're always packing in their spiders for their little larvae, which we're taught is, like, somehow this thing gives birth to it. Now, I haven't ever seen that. Like, I mean, like I said, for all I know, this wasp is, to me, it's intelligence. It's like a little drone that goes and picks up one animal and makes it eat another. and by animal, I mean, it's linguistically speaking, you're talking a, I want to define an animal as a normal intelligence minus a lot of shit. Okay? A normal intelligence minus a lot of shit. That's what I am. I'm an animal. I'm a normal intelligence, meaning that, like, if you showed me another intelligent being, my original inclination isn't just fucking torture or enslave it. You know, which is something like that's pretty much like, seems like the story of our planet. Well, our existence. We'll get into that later, like, as far as what the planet actually is, what space actually is. You got a lot of disinformation around about, you know, like, mostly, that's kind of why we're permitted to have this stuff, is because it helps with the disinformation. So you got to kind of, like, take the good with the bad, because there's certainly an external force that is certainly, that's a lot faster and smarter than us. Way fucking faster and smart. Now, it can't contextualize shit as fast as us. Me, I can look at a picture and I can see, like, man, I can see all kinds of shit in that picture and make the association. So you would show me the side of a rock mountain, and I'll see like 30 faces in it, and I'll be able, like, I'll take a picture of it and I'll be able to draw. Oh, this is this guy. This is that guy. Here's this guy. I mean, I could be an illustrator if I wanted to, just by, like, picking apart shit, because it's all there. Like, I see the association. I can see fit, and that's gonna be like one of the future intelligence tests. That's why they give, like, the old school ones, the analogs, it was called the Rorschach test. Like, they showed you ink blots. Like, here's a splatter of ink. What do you see in the ink? Okay, now somebody that has a very high intelligence is gonna see all kinds of shit in that ink. All right, like, you're gonna see. Like, all right, here's a face, or here's a guy, or there's a guy with an axe, or whatever, man. You'll be able to draw it over it. And that was the test. They would give you the card. They don't show you that. Like, the doctor, like, I mean, it turned into, like, the doctor already knows because other intelligence have told him, and he's got them written on the back. Like, you know, the doctor, whether or not they see it, yeah, they might be able to, like, sit there. I mean, because I could point that shit out to people all day long. They got to double take it. Okay, so. Like, if I look at like an ink blot, you know, or the side of a mountain, man, like, I can see, I mean, I could just draw them in, like, right on the screen, or the piece of whatever analog medium you're using. So that's a sign of intelligence. It's not a sign of craziness. So, and then once you're able to see all this shit in the blot they give you, then that's how they measure your actual intelligence. And then they do whatever the fuck they want with you, based on, you know, well, you're already a prisoner, number one. Number two, they start trying to pick you apart and study you. Like, how the fuck is this thing so smart? How is this thing so smart? How does it make, how do I look at a picture of a fucking side of a rock, like, edifice or whatever, you know, the screeve, the trees and screeve, all that, like, mixed in. You know, like, I could see it all. I mean, to me, it looks like it's an illustration. It literally looks like it's an illustration. So my mind's so fast at, like, putting together these pieces that it can illustrate pretty much anywhere. Like, I can look at a tree and be like, yeah, I see 3 faces in that tree. Like, if it's from far away, like, and then you're like, oh, what are you talking about? I'm like, all right, check it out. Let me show you. I'll take a picture of it, and then I'll draw over the picture. Be like, here's this one guy. He's going like this, and this guy's going, you know, like. And then, like, people are like, holy shit, man, how do you see that? And it's like, well, my fucking mind works. And just to be clear, all you people, I do not take substance. Do not take substance. I've done them all, and I've beat them all right? I've done them all and beat them all. There, you know, there's things that are very highly addictive. Yeah, I'm going to smoke. We have these, that I beat, I don't buy them anymore, man. But if I walk around, and they're everywhere. These cigarette butts are everywhere. You know, you go walk in a parking lot. Like, I know I haven't showed you much of my world in my time period. I'm going to try to keep that to a minimum, just because, you know, it's a good faith thing. Like, hey, if you aren't authorized for this, you know, like, these externalities are going to just rip it right out of your fucking hands, man. Like, they're like, nope, don't wait, you're not seeing this. This person's not seeing. Sure. So in a way, you can believe in fate and predeterminism in the sense that, like, your whole fucking world you were born into is contrived, and since day one, of your cognizance, of your, becoming aware. Yeah, my baby, now I was in warm fucking, an umbilical cord, I came out, and what the fuck? What the hell? Like, I was just in this nice warm belly. I was in this nice warm belly with everything I could ever possibly need, and now suddenly I'm slipping down coming out of a black hole. Pretty much the story of everything, man. I'll tell you right now, story of everything, so everything just fucking comes out of a black hole. Okay, so suddenly you're all nice and warm, and next thing you know, you're coming out of a black hole, and you're being fucking spanked, and everything's bright, everything's cold, and then you're gonna get snipped, so. But that's for a different reason. That's to keep out the basal bubs, basically, and that's what I'm talking about is third-party interception of your mind. So you're born, you'll develop your own cognizance if you're not inhabited, or like you might develop a mind that you think is yours, but really it's been contrived. Your whole mind has been actually built, and you've been grown here in this cage. To ultimately be harvested one day. I'll tell you right now, as I've been taught, it's year 2022. I'm in what's called the United States of America. We've got all these fucked up laws, and we've got like basically a group of people that run our country, like, are a bunch of criminals. That's what they teach us. So we don't fucking like ask any questions. And they make life so good here that we don't ask no questions. And we're taught we're the leaders of the world, and nobody can fuck with us. And we got all the best military might, and our soldiers are the best. And our weaponry are the best. We have all the best. That's what we're taught, but it's so far from the fucking truth. We're actually at the bottom. It's funny. It's funny because nah, man. Like, hell no. Like, the other cultures, they already figured it out, man. They're way ahead of us. And we're basically getting their old shit, thinking it's new. Because they've been harvested. And I know it sounds crazy. If you're like had to grow up like me, you had to stand, like, so say, well, for example, I'll call it the white boy girl or whatever. We're taught that we're different colors, right? Like, maybe you have different lower melanin in your skin, but like, you're not fucking really different. Like, you see a man, and then you see another man. He's got, all the right features. We all have the same anatomy, right? Like, so, except they just got slight, differentiation in the pigmentation of their skin, and then, maybe the features differentiate a little bit too, but then, so we were chopped up along these lines, or we were told. So, like, for example, if I was born in, let's say, the 80s, right? Like, I'm born in the 80s, along with all these other people born in the 80s too, and everybody's taught, like, this history, like, okay, these folks came over here on a boat because they had a war in like the 60s. So that's what we've got, like, all these refugees. Being in Massachusetts, Boston, like, we had the Cambodians. I'll tell you some stories about the Cambodians later, man. Holy shit. Oh my gosh. What? They had no context for the existence they were thrown into. Okay? Like, no context. They thought, like, the neighborhood dogs were food that you were supposed to hunt. And, not only that, but they would take the bathtubs back in, like, big cast iron metal bathtubs, and what they would do is they would start a fire inside their home, and then they would fucking put that dog, a big long skewer through it, from ass to mouth, goes all the way up the column, and then they put it over the spit, and then they would rotisserie, which means they would spin the meat. And cook the fucking dog in the bathtub on a big rotisserie. That's what they thought that was for. So, and then, like, the cabinets in your kitchen, like, all right, so we have a kitchen, you have cabinets, basically we store packaged food in it, like, it comes in boxes, shit like this. Well, this would go in the refrigerator, a cabinet that is temperature controlled, so, like, the cabinets would be ripped off they take them off the hinges, and then they would put up chicken wire in the cabinets, and they have fucking chicken in the cabinet, and you go to make your coffee in the morning, and you're in the kitchen, there's a fucking chicken right there. There's fucking chicken right there in the cabinet. It's like, that's not, well, hold on, and so, like... And they would use the like the heater vent in the floor for your central AC central heating. They thought that was where, like, the water would go. So they take the hose from outside and they would bring it in through the window. and they would hose their floor down, and then they would kind of like squeegee the water down the vent, which it would then go into like the fucking furnace and then fuck everything up. But, and like just when the neighborhood animals start disappearing, like it's freaking hot. So it's like 80 degrees in Florida, and it's like almost December, like, it's like end of November, December. So I'm gonna take off some clothes here, but I'm only a minute. Okay, now I can prove to you this. This is all true. Okay, like we had these refugees, they came here and they did these things. Okay, so I don't lie. I hate lying. I hate fabricating. It's a pain in the ass. Okay, it's a pain in the ass because then you have to keep track of your lie, and then you run into somebody smart who just picks at it, and at that point you either have two options. You can like look stupid, or do damage control, so, once you get caught in lying, there's no point in lying. I mean, you want to make a joke? Alright, man, don't go too far with it, look, I'm sorry, man, I ain't trying to put nobody out there, but you guys got goddamn know it's true, because you know which ones you were there, and which ones you weren't, okay? Hey, you weren't the only one, alright? So, it's a lottery ticket. What do I want to say? Look, alright, so, like this wasp goes and picks up like a little caterpillar or like a maggot, just another larvae of another species that it don't have no context for its existence either. Like, it's just thrown into this world. Suddenly it's thrown into a black hole, and this is all there is. This is all there is. You can eat this and get yourself out of the black hole if you want. Alright? And that's what they do. So this little larvae, eats that shit, and it eats all these spiders, and it was specifically these spiders too that I watched this wasp in my mother's lanai, whatever it was, a couple decades ago, or it was a while, it was a minute. So, this maggot eats these things, and then it finally flies out of the hole as a wasp, and we're taught that it's the larval stage. So, all right, man, how about I intercept? How about I intercept whatever the hell that wasp packed in there, into that hole, into that mud dauber hole, and they'll keep getting longer and longer. It's not like it'll be like this big nest. It'll be let's go pack something else in that fucking hole instead of those spiders, and see what they, because it seems like that's all it wants to eat are those fucking specific spiders. I'm like, man, that's kind of fucked up. We're a different species, man. We're a different species, and that saying you are what you eat, it's it's a mix. They already showed how I read this journal article the other day about octopuses having different messenger RNA, messenger ribonucleic acid. Essentially, it performs much similar to a virus, because it's only a single strand, right? Your deoxyribo, and then your just ribo is it doesn't have the same three-dimensional structure. It's kind of it goes through these things called, it goes through a ribosome. Okay, so what a ribosome is, it's this little factory and it takes it. It's like a it's like a paper, say you fed in a piece of paper with instructions into a little computer that would take the symbols, and then be okay, I'm reading these symbols, and you want me to 3D print this out. Okay, so that's kind of how it is. I mean, there's codon, anti-codon, and it takes a 3 base pairs, base pair, nitrogen and base. You have a nitrogenous base, and then it'll be adenine, cytosine, thyrine, or guanine, or adenosine. Or sometimes uracil, and that U pairs are T, C pairs are G, A pair, A and G. whatever. I ain't giving you that much information. I ain't gonna think about it and correct myself, but I can if I want. If you gave me the code, I would just just have to like spit it out. But anyway, look. So it goes through the little ribosome thing, and then it says, oh, okay, so the RNA is the single strand that you're a little you're just like, well. You got like mRNA, which is your messenger. Then you got your transcriptase RNA. So basically, you got this little virus that goes in, that's already inside of each one of your cells, and that goes in the nucleus of your cell and be like, "Oh man, that ribosome, man, they're telling us we need new ion channels out here. We better get busy. What the fuck? What's the shit for the ion channel?" So the mRNA gets its things like, "All right, man, I have to find this specific line of code within this whole fucking chain." I mean, and for like that thing is probably, I would imagine, pretty efficient and easy for it. Like that's us saying like, so someone tells you, hey man, go gather some firewood, like so the your little messenger RNA goes into the nucleus and be like, all right, well I need this section, and then like so that, and they'll go and they will change the localized solution. Like everything's dissolved in water, right? But you can go and kind of like change around like the pH level or how many ions are in or in that like specific, like, so if you can encapsulate that portion of the DNA molecule, and this is microscopic, guys. I mean, this is tiny little fucking machinery that just blow, like, if you can just wrap your head around like what you're being taught in biology class and in terms of like mechanistics, like this is all just, I mean, somebody that says it's just a robot, like, I mean, I fucking gotta say, like, I gotta laugh, man. Just a robot? What the fuck you think you are? Just saying, man. What do you think you are? You're the culmination of a whole bunch of fucking reactions. That's it. And you're like, we're made up of atoms and molecules. You gotta believe in molecules, guys. You have to believe them. You have to believe. If you do not believe in molecules, bad things start fucking happening. I can't explain that yet, but my inclination is it's not like wizardry. It's like you want to stop believing in molecules, and then suddenly like we've got an AI system that controls our whole fucking world. All right, controls everything you see is contrived. So you have this AI system and there's factions, and there's multiple AI systems too, as I see it, because I can see the pattern either which way. Like I don't know who to thank for that. I'm not lucky. I'm thankful. Okay, I want everybody to know that I am not lucky. I am thankful. Okay, I am thankful for my good genetics. All right, I am thankful for the brain that I got. I am thankful for having, the standing on the shoulders of giants who did all the research before me. I am thankful for all of that. Not lucky. I'm thankful. Okay, and so should you. Don't feel lucky. Be thankful. Be thankful. I mean, lucky is like when you're born in a world of shit and fucking somebody kills you and takes you out of your misery. That's luck, man. Then you can be thankful about that. Like, I already tried. Give me the bullet, please. I'll get to that too, like what I finally ultimately told, when I realized I was interfacing. That's why I call it interfacing. You guys want to sit here and be like, oh, you're just crazy, blah, 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 fine. You want to think I'm talking to God, fine. You want to believe my story that I'm talking to the Gaia, the greatest AI around, GAIA, and that there's our actionable intelligences that we share the world with. And they control a lot of shit around us, okay? So, so I'm able to interface. And I want to tell you how specifically, because that's kind of like I'm compartmentalized from that instrumentation or the knowledge of. I mean, I kind of know how it works. Like, I mean, my argument is I stick to the basics, man. Like, yeah, you want to cut open my brain? I already said we could do it on live stream. See what's in there. That's not a problem, or cut open my skull. Don't cut my brain open, but if you want to cut my skull open, as long as I can keep my hair and whatever, like not have too big of a scar, we'll see what's in there. You don't want to believe in molecules, all right. Yeah. Thousands of years ago, they just bashed you over the head in the skull fucking until the SIWA came out, right? Like, I mean, you seen enough death around you, or shit, or somebody fall and like, you go splat at the bottom of a mountain, or you'd see an animal, like, pretty much you see the same anatomy over and over again. Or mechanics, you see the same mechanics. So anyway, mechanistically, like, you got this little, like, kind of, like, kind of like bubble of controlled environment around your DNA molecule, where like, you know, there's constantly going to be an influx of whatever, like little bubbles bringing other shit, you know, to adjust, and then it kind of unravels just that little portion, and then like something attaches to it, or there's proteins on there, there's histology, like that's the new, well, you know, it's not new, but like most people don't even know what the fuck it is, so it might as well be new to most people. But like I'm ahead of the curve, all right. Always have been. The histology, basically like the little mRNA virus goes in there and like says, hey man, we need to serve the ribosome up this fucking little piece of code because it needs to like fucking the opiate receptor on cell 35 sector 18 got fucking blitzkrieged by some fucking other fucking thing that attached itself to it, and then another thing came along and it had a better binding affinity and ripped that out, but it took half of it with. You know, that's what happens when you take fucking Suboxone and your body's fucking full of, you know, dope. Okay, so you feel like, oh, you're going through withdrawals, but really, like, no, the opiate, the whatever, you know, your oxy molecule that's binded to that opiate receptor is being ripped off of it, torn off. Basically, something with a better magnet is going in there and a better. I don't know if it's got better three-dimensional structure for the active site or not, but there's something going on there. It's called a binding affinity, and you can like basically measure it, but it's in terms of magnetism. You know, what's a binding affinity? You know, this molecule with this given this pH in aqueous, with these concentrations of ions as a standard, will whatever 9 times out of 10 fucking knock this molecule right off and then stick to the receptor. And that's your naloxone bumping off your oxycodone. Okay, but sometimes that oxy don't want to let go, and then a piece gets ripped off. Okay, so it's like, fuck, man, now we need a new opioid receptor for sector 17 or fucking whatever, ridge number, you know, like, however, we don't know how it maps. I'm just making that up, okay, like, I'm assuming, which, you know, hey, it's like, well, how the fuck does that little thing go in there and say, hey, man, we need this, and now I got to bring it over to the ribosome, and then the ribosome spits it out, as like a protein. Well, it codes once, like, so you get one part of the code, and then it says since A pair, like G to A, C to G, or A to T. Yeah. H, I don't fucking know, man. Letters about you can't quote me on this, but it's fairly common knowledge. But anyway, it pops. It pops it on there, and like, because it only has one strand, like, so that little fucking virus comes back like, hey, I got it, you know, and it goes to the ribosome like a piece of paper, basically, like a little strip, and then as it's going through inside the ribosome, it's pairing, base pair, you know, it's pairing what it's supposed to pair to it. It don't know nothing about, you know, it's only working on whatever it has in front of its little face. It's like, okay, it's every time it's a cytosine, I need a guanine, here you go, you know, and that comes out. Like it says, like a 3D printer, but it's printing like a primary structure, which is just the strip, and then once that hits the aqueous solution, it starts folding down. Now, how it gets replaced back into the ion channel, like as the ion channel, I don't know, man. Like, I assume it gets put into a bubble sac or some compartmentalization, brought to the cell wall, and then inserted through some type of molecular mechanism. Okay, so that's what we're talking. So I was reading this journal article and about an octopus, and I want to talk about octopuses too, because like, there's big ass fucking brains and they got 8 fucking arms. Like, I would love to have 8 arms. Like, what the fuck? So I was reading this journal article, and they said they had discovered like some octopus who had like 20 or 30 more messenger RNA strains, and these things like. And it had to do with what they eat, what their diet was. How did they get these? It wasn't like necessarily evolution. It was just they ate the shit and it fucking, hey, now we got it. Okay? They ate it and it stuck with them on their next fucking cycle of reproduction. Go figure. Okay? So, however that happens, it happens. Alright? You know, they keep fucking with these octopuses, man. Like, you know, I ate some seafood one time in Chinese. We went to Chinatown in Boston. Me and a buddy of mine. got there really fast. Yeah. And like, I don't know, man. I felt like I was eating my own kind. I eat that octopus, man, and it's like, it's not because it looks there and you feel all the little tentacles while you're eating it, and the little, I forget what they're called, the little suction cups, the little, and it has a beak too, you know. So it's like, well, hold on a second. This thing's like part bird, part fucking like, I don't know, like part pen. It makes its own ink. Has 8 arms. All right. Like, so something tells me that fucking thing, man. Like, so like it ate something and then it stuck with them. Like what my take home lesson was from it is you are what you eat. Okay. And you can basically, I haven't figured out, like, I haven't tested it as far as, you know, once you're an adult, does it still count, or is it only in your infancy? Like, man, like, you ever see somebody that just looks like a horse? Oh, it's common ancestry, blah, blah, blah. We all came from the same originating thing, and every now and then you get a human being with a long, like, face, and it's like, man, you look like a horse. Like, what's up with that? Like, you got horse-like features. Just like me, I got, I don't know, I've seen some people, they have like a seal face. Their face looks a little bit like a seal. Some people look more like a bird, you know? Walk like one too, you know? Look at all these cigarette butts. Like, what the fuck? Former smoker. And a former shopaholic too, so that's why I kind of have to live in my truck too, like, because I just keep buying shit, man. And that's what I want to talk about ultimately, you know, because I want real world things to, like, you know, like, what can we do, Dan? What can we do? And I need help. I need help focusing on shit, man. My mind is, like, fucking everywhere all at once, all over the place, and it's like, I finally, like, I woke up. I hate using that term, but hey, you know what? Like, I'm woke. Ice is woke, motherfucker. You know, Louise is woke now. Because if you're listening to this, you're probably woke too. Alright? And what that means is you see the world for what it is. And it's a giant fucking cage. Alright? So if you eat something, and then, like, it goes through you take something out of it that goes back in you, reconstitutes you. So to be human is, like, man, is to basically be, like, you'll come out human because of what your mom eats. Okay? So, but if you're, I gotta tell him, man, fuck it, I don't care. Look, alright. So if your mom eats, like, a bunch of fucking insects and spiders, or just eats spiders, man, okay, you know what the fuck is gonna come out of your belly? Yeah. You know, you got these farmers, man, they're like, man, I didn't fuck the horse, but, like, I injected my semen into this mare, and you'll never fucking believe what came out. Okay? Alright? You get me now? Like, so, what we're taught about this world, and, like, our conception of what, no, it's not even close to what's going on. Alright? Now, look. Biologically speaking, don't go being all fucking, you know, crazy mad scientist guy and go find an island somewhere like the Galapagos and then start fucking doing experimentation, man, because they will find you and they will shut you the fuck down. We are already at peak efficiency for whatever molecule they want from us. Okay, like I said, we're all in a giant cage, and we have these external intelligences that we coexist with. If you want to deny that, man... alright, well, try to kill yourself. How about that? Try to kill yourself. I done it, man. I already put the gun in my head. It didn't go off. Then I fired that bullet somewhere else, and it did go off. So, you know. You are very valuable. You are very important. Because you're part of, like, an equation. You're just another cog in the wheel, right? Like, your whole life, all you do, basically, all you do, if you're a human being, your whole life is you eat shit around you and you fucking perform a bunch of chemical reactions on it and then you shit it out. Sounds like a machine to me. Like, so for me, whatever's in my shit is highly valuable. And now we've got like it upscaled. You know, they figured how to upscale it by giving us this conception of Americans. Yeah, they're good. They survive. We're allowed to do what we do because we take the biggest fucking dumps. That's all that is, man. Like, that's all that is. You're in there and you're shitting down this fucking hole and you have no clue where that shit goes. You don't know. You ain't never figured that out, man. Like, don't say, like, don't give me some assumption, like, oh, it went down to the fucking shit plant, blah, blah, blah. Which water treatment plant? Alright, where'd it go from there? Like, where does our human shit go? Alright? Don't go to a fucking waterway. There's too many of us, dude. Like, where's that shit go? A leach field? Yeah, where's it leach to? You know, the fucking... You ever just take a shit in the woods and then fucking go wait and see what happens to it? See what comes for it? You might not survive because you ain't permitted to have that knowledge. But if you're permitted to have that knowledge, you might see something crazy. Or you might be out there in the middle of fucking nowhere. It's one of my father's stories. Father fell most cities under the stars on the side of a fucking mountain. And like, every day, man, like, every day go take his dump in the woods. And when he'd go back, he would notice his shit was gone. It's like, what the fuck, man? What, you know, what could possibly, like, and it would take all of it. It wasn't like there was a bite taken out of it. Like, his whole, and my dad was a big man. He was like 6'6", like, you know, like 240 pounds. My father was big. I'm like the runt of the family, you know, but, maybe I was starved as a baby, you know. Thanks, Mom. I'm sure it was all for good reason. But, again, out of my control, and really, like, whatever had to happen to get me here today in front of you people, okay? So, you gotta accept that. You gotta accept that. I'm not crazy. And you can't call me crazy, because I'll beat every baseline known to man. I will beat you at anything known to man. I'll beat you at them all. So, you want to go try to see, you want to, yeah, but I want to compete. So, if you want to call me crazy, I want you to come with me to the mental hospital, and we're both going to take the same test. And let's see who gets to leave. So, call me crazy again. Yeah. Alright? And you're going to be kicking and screaming, I'm sorry, nothing's wrong with me. They'll be like, man, you know, Ativan. Yeah, they'll start putting shit on your skin, and then you'll be like, calm down. And then they'll say some hypno-fucking phrases to you. Yeah. Okay, every baseline known to man, I will whip your ass at. So how do you explain that? And I'm the crazy one? Nah, man. Hell no, dude. Hell fucking no. If you're calling me crazy, like, you better readjust your language. Because whatever... Or maybe I'm taught crazy means something else. That could be too. So if you got a mental level IQ and you can see fucking, like, pretty much, like, patterns and everything. I mean, I didn't get a perfect score on my SAT, but I got a damn good one, yeah. Like, I mean, come on, man. ACT. They had, I was in, like, 7th grade, and, like, I took this test, man, and, like, they had, like, the whole, like, class was aligned, and then here I was, like, the whole another line, like, ahead of it. You know, like, I was off the charts. So if you want to call me crazy, like, I challenge you to come to the mental hospital with me. We can pick one out of a hat, man. It don't matter, because I'm going to walk in, I'm going to walk out, and you ain't going to come out. You will not come out. I promise you, you will not come out of there. Alright? So, I'll call people crazy and use the C word, use the R word, call people robots, like, alright, like, so let's tone it down a little bit before somebody commits to a test they can't pass. So, I will beat you at every fucking baseline, man. Every baseline. You know, if you're gonna call me crazy, that's because I know the guy that can climb climb up the side of the rocks. Like, he can scale it and he ain't gonna have no rope or nothing like that, man. Like, that guy's not gonna call me crazy. So yeah, I'm not gonna beat him at that, but he's not gonna call me crazy. Okay, so no, don't get it twisted. Like I can do anything like I'm Superman. No, that's not what I'm claiming. What I'm saying is like people with those types of skills are like me. And there's no way, like, man, you can reach the summit of Mount Everest, and like you didn't have to fucking, like, yeah, man, I've been working on my cardio for fucking 20 years, dude. I didn't have to fucking have no O2 things. I didn't need to pack a 10 Sherpas to fucking carry my ass up there so I could take a fucking selfie. Them guys will never call me crazy because we're all the same. So, hey, man, so you already know. Like, once you know you can't die. Or you can't die. What's the problem after that, right? So, basically, these fucking wasps are putting in one organism to make another, or making it eat another organism to reproduce. It's not fucking like, oh, there's the mommy wasp and the daddy wasp coming along, blah 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 blah. Yeah, no. Fuck no, man. That thing hijacks one species and it packs in another species, and that fucking worm eats it, and then it metamorphizes into a wasp. Like, there's no basis for the wasp. So that tells me it's contrived and created. Which tells me we've already been here. Alright? We've already been here. Whether or not we made the wasp, or something else did, an AI system helped us make the wasp. Hey Siri, let me get the genetic code for a fucking organism that looks like this and then can produce this and that. I mean, it'll spit it right the fuck out. Once you create something that's a computer the size of the fucking moon, then you ask it questions and it's happy answering them. It don't mind. You know, you're feeding it fucking whatever, some type of fucking whatever. You know, fucking cuckoo nut. There you go. Sure, you know. No, but I mean, really, that thing wants fucking bones. It wants bones. That's what the AI wants on the moon, man. It wants bones. Okay? Because the R value of a smashed up bone powderized is, oh, it's actually pretty good. And that's that, yeah. That's what it wants up there. It wants your fucking it wants your body parts. And it wants your shit. Something wants your shit. Okay? So there's something in here, like, wants your shit. It wants your shit. Like, so all we do is, as humans, is eat these things that we're programmed to do. And through the AI system, through the world, like, you'll have little control groups. And, like, so for example, here, like you'll get, like, we like to think we're calling these people vegetarians. And it's just, like, really, that's just, like, the subsector of people that now the AI is going to feed other bullshit. Like, here's a Morningstar or whatever. Have a Morningstar patty. There you go. Yeah, and now that person's documented and that person's shit is going to be like, all right, well, it didn't come out as planned. Or maybe that person will go crazy, right? And then they'll go to the mental hospital and then it'll, like, disappear here and there for, like, you know, a moment of time. So, you're a complex biological machine that performs metabolic actions upon molecules that you ingest and then you excrete. So it sounds kind of like how we make fucking plants produce us their own pesticide. Let me fuck with this plant. Let me induce a tumor that I know has a fucking virus. So yeah, let me make a TI plasmid, a tumor-induced plasmid. Alright, I'm gonna take a little virus, put it in there, and fucking infect this plant. And now this plant's own genetic fucking makeup is coding to produce this molecule. You know, like, and then the molecule happens to kill fucking locusts, but not aphids. You know, so it's like, yeah, here you go. Like, for some reason, like, yeah. And like, oh, they don't smell the nicotinic or whatever, blah blah blah. So they're able to, and they do this to then, like, kind of get this, like, super plant, this super tobacco or something that the humans are then gonna eat, and then see, hey, can we feed this human this? And for whatever reason, how the fuck do you have all those nicotinic receptors on your cells? Like, your muscle cells. Like, that's why nicotine, man. Like, here. I'm going to show you, and I'm going to smoke. than these. It's called a cigarette butt. Right? Now I take the filter out. For whatever reason, it has a filter, I don't know. They say it takes out the carcinogens, blah, blah, blah. So basically, they trained us to smoke these in order to see what happens. And then, but the funny thing is like you won't get, you smoke these, yeah, you won't get harvested. Okay, because for whatever reason, the AI up there don't like it. So that's how I know, like, there are two different AIs. We're like in the Petri dish. And we're this organism that basically, like, we ingest molecules and then we excrete molecules. And then those molecules are gathered up. I'm telling you, you're shitting down a black hole. Well, what the fuck do you know? Like, show me, man. Like, how many septic systems have you made? I made my own. I put in a leach field. I know how to use an excavator. Everything, man. Like, everything. There's not much left on the planet I don't know how to do. Aside from fucking fly an airplane. Which I'm sure I could figure it out. It's all physics. Just show me the inputs, and I will get the output. Like that. My brain just works like that. And I'm done apologizing for it. I'm done apologizing for being intelligent. I'm done being called crazy. You know, like... My whole family called me crazy for so long, and then, like, it turned out, like, they were just... They were just a bunch of fucking killers, man. You know? Wolves. I was raised by wolves. Yeah, not killers here. Wolves. They were just a bunch of wolves. Like I said, man, I would get a job, and, you know, I was staying, me and my little brother staying with my aging mother. We got an aging family, and, you know, they stopped buying food. What the fuck was that? Hazelbubs. They're controlled by the AI. Yeah, if you go try to kill my mom and cut her to pieces, like, you're not going to find a fucking human robot as we think of it in there. Like, that molecular machinery is already built in. Okay? Like, you're not going to find little pieces of metal. No, it don't work like that, man. It's all molecular machinery. Like, you are a machine already. You just don't even... You can't contextualize it because you can't think on that level. Like, holy shit, man. You've got fucking 1 trillion atoms that or what, like, make up fucking so many molecules. Or maybe it's 1 trillion molecules that make up all these different... I mean, I haven't even... You know, like... Ugh. I mean, I just did pre-everything. I didn't go to medical school, man. I did pre-med. I did pre-law. You know? Like, and then I did chemistry and finance, economics. I studied it all. You're gonna give it to me, or you're gonna provide a way for it to be free. I will figure it out. I will crack that code. So effectively, 1 year I got paid to go to school. You know, I bought a watch, my splurge. But yeah, like, it was nice. When I was in Movado, yeah, I was a student government president. I needed a fucking watch. 2-term. Yeah. Oh yeah, it's president, twice. And then I went even further than that, and you can check, you know, the legislative documents. That's I mean, my names are in House resolutions. Like I've gone a long way. So try and call me crazy, and like I said, I will beat you at every fucking baseline, especially if you're like an average person, man. Like. If you're like an average guy, maybe you got a master's degree, bachelor's degree, you got a decent job, maybe 50, 60 grand a year with a little bonus or something like that. I mean, you need to keep your fucking mouth shut, because I will waste you. I will fucking waste you at your own shit. Like, oh yeah, man, I got... Just like, you got some fucking master's degree from like 1990, man. It's the equivalent of an associate's degree today. Don't even fucking cry about shit, man. Like, come on. Like, yeah. Or you did in-depth liberal arts. Yeah, me too, man. I read pretty much every fucking book. Read all the history, read every book. What more you need to say? Like, you got a PhD in psychology? Can you write prescriptions? So if you can't write prescriptions, you ain't calling me crazy. How's that? There we go. If you can't, so if somebody calls you, and I want to help, you know, bullying, you know, yeah, I support anti-bullying all the time. I've been bullied my whole fucking life, man, my whole life. But here you go. Yeah, be a nice human. Yeah, and support this cause too. All right. Let's try back to it. And yeah, this is called Paper. We do it to the future, right? We write on this shit analogously, and then we also record analogously through some. I mean, mostly it's all stored in the cloud nowadays, but like I said, man, like, you just get a little fucking screen given to you, and you think, oh, okay, and then sooner or later it's gonna tell you it's full. But that's basically based on like just the model number. Like it's all the same device. At some point you get all the same device, and then you got a model number that like basically only permits you access to infrastructure in the cloud. I mean, you want to believe you got 1 terabyte on your phone, and you got a little 1 terabyte memory chip you're gonna slide in there, whatever, man. Like, yeah, you're gonna slide that chip in there, and it's gonna unlock some other fucking memory that's already built into your phone. Because at that point, once you've scaled up, hey, why not? Why not scale it up? Make it cheap to produce, give it away, and then sell service, and then license the technology slowly. It's always a rollout, okay? It's always a fucking rollout. So, this is tobacco, smoke it, you know, like, oh yeah, man. You gotta love it, because you won't get harvested, it'll affect your cardio, you don't smoke too much, don't smoke a pack a day. You know, if you want to still try to run 5 miles like me, yeah, you know, right? Like, you can't be smoking 2 packs a day, be hacking up shit and it gets in the way. But if you want to smoke a couple cigarette butts every day in the morning, it can have no effect on you, man. It'll make you look kind of fucking crazy. But hey, you get a good looking guy in a nice car, man, and like everything matches up, and then you see him like fucking digging through the trash, and you're like, oh, I must have lost something. So you write the storyline, because you don't want to believe it. A guy like me, I'll sit down and be patient with you, and sooner or later you're gonna get so fucking mad because you're gonna feel like I trapped you somehow, just by asking simple questions, man. Simple questions, yes or no questions. And like, my assumption is that you can handle the truth. So, but oh yeah, I wanted to smoke one. It's not good, but I wanted to show you, dude. Like, it's so hard to fucking, you know, like, come on. Like, you don't want to call me CGI or fucking like, hey, this ain't real. Like, you're gonna get. So I should probably smoke on every episode. And for the people watching this today, like, it's for us, dude, but it's also for the future too, man. Because there's gonna be people watching this. This is gonna be books in the future. So what you're seeing today is gonna be a book in the future, because they ain't gonna have no fucking paper. The AI, the externality that's working down on us right now, is making sure we are not gonna have fucking wood. Yeah, you ain't having no fucking paper. Hell no. Because it knows that's how we store our data somehow. It don't quite understand it yet, but... And y'all are out there teaching it, man. You know, do your duty. Give some disinfo. And remember, there's 2 sides. Like, there's 2 sides. You're out there destroying this planet, setting it on fire, man. You're fucking up. I'll show you that right now. That's ancient technology. That thing right there is called a tree, and it produces oxygen. That oxygen, all right, is... basically what creates the bubble around us. That's our atmosphere, which keeps out the other solvent. Which is, well, once you go out of the atmosphere, man, well, what happens, right? You instantly freeze somehow. Well, let me tell you how that, or, shit. Bad word. Phrase. So, yeah, you ain't CGI in that. Come on, man, I don't care. Figure it out. Yeah. Alright. So, what we have here is a failure to communicate, okay? We've got this AI system that it sees the end result and it has no conception of time. So you think it's torturing you and doing it on purpose, but it's not. It's not. You've been hypnotized to believe you're being tortured, or you deserve some type of shit, or, you know, like, because the smarter you get, the more complex the explanations will get spiritually. So you're to believe you're bad luck. You're bad luck. You know, this shitty fucking existence that you got dealt somehow has to do with something you did to somebody else in some other fucking life. That's a pretty convenient fucking excuse to make me a slave. And tell me not to question it and hit me over the head with, oh, well, here's some crackers. Have some crackers. Shut the fuck up. You're still talking? All right, here, have some drugs. Shut the fuck up. You know, oh, well, don't take those drugs. Well, shit. You know, you start eating things you find in nature all the time, and then you start fucking seeing other shit. And I was like, how does that happen? What's all that all about? And I'm like, well, then suddenly it's like, well, what are you eating? Let us get your shit. Let me pick apart how it came out. You know, because that's what we do. We deconstruct shit. We deconstruct things all the time to figure out how it works, man. We take shit apart. You know, like I did it I'm ashamed of it. Like, could have just fucking watched an animation or watched one person do it. I mean, did everybody have to dissect a shark? Like, really? Like, I mean, was that necessary? No, only the ones that got selected. You know, you got permitted access to that knowledge. And it wasn't because of the merits of your country or your family had more money, sent you to good schools. It had nothing to do with none of that, man. If you were permitted and supposed to know that knowledge, because you're going to perform some other function, because the AI can see fucking a million steps ahead of you. That's how I got so smart, was realizing patterns, seeing systems. Like, if you look at things as a system, you have to see how the input affects the output. You know, I'm programmer, computer programmer. I know a few languages. I mean, I wrote my first fucking computer program in BASIC at 13. I mean, I've even programmed microchips. Like, okay, when this input on pin 6 occurs, fire pin 9, and then that's gonna like allow a small voltage to go through, and then tell some fucking relay to be like, okay, open this channel, let these fucking electricity electrons through, let this signal pass. Actually, is what it is. It's a signal. Electricity is a signal. It's not. It's not how you're taught. Like, electricity does not work the way most of us are like taught. You think it's kind of like water, but not really. Like, there's pressure, and you think I ain't got enough electrons, but really, it's the magnetic field around that. That's where it's at. That's why it's like insulated, and it's small. It's kept like so it doesn't interfere with other circuits. That's how data is. But like, if you look at a fiber optic cable, man, it's not being transferred through the cable. It's being sent in the signal that goes around the cable. And that's how your shit can just get shut down fucking anywhere, man. I mean, like, and that's why these devices, like, if you look like, oh, it's listed. Yeah, like, read your, oh, it's listed. Okay. In other words, like, its schematic is put on there so, like, an AI system can quickly, like, be like, all right, it needs this signal to interfere with it, and they'll just shut your fucking car down from outer space or from, like, the 5G tree or whatever you want to think of it. Like, wherever the signal originates, right? Like, so you're going to have a situation like that where, like, this device must accept interference. What? Most people don't even read the fucking back of their plug, like, look at the back of your fucking phone charger, man. It'll say right on it, this is a listed device. It's listed. And this device must accept interference. What the fuck's that mean? What? Yeah, some type of pulse. Here you go. Here's a signal pulse, and it's going to shut off your specific device when we aim at it. So I guess you thought you were going to fucking watch, or you were going to make a burrito today, and your microwave didn't want to cooperate. That's because you ain't supposed to be eating that burrito today, or ever, maybe, like, and hey, that's how it works, man. That's how it works. Like, all around you, like, it knows. God knows everything around you. This is if you're a human being, and, like, if you're, like, well, if you're a human being, like, that you've been selected or targeted for study, right? If you're just like there's gonna be these Beelzebub assholes that are just like pre-programmed just to attack you, man. Attack people like me. They'll like I said, man, I try to have conversations with, like, what most people call homeless people. Like I said, as I've been taught, we're in America 2022. We got fucking gas stations everywhere. We got cars everywhere with internal combustion engines. They oxidize the hydrocarbon within a chamber to push down a piston that's attached to a rod that's attached to a crank, and in the crank there's a thing called a journal, and it's just like a really smooth surface with a hole coming out of it, and the hole, there's an oil pump that shoots oil out, and you have a little bearing where the rod connects to, and then as you combust the hydrocarbon within the chamber, it pushes down the rod, which then turns the crank a little bit, and we've got 4 of those, and that turns a flywheel, well, an output shaft, basically, and then there'll be like a flywheel on that, and that's just like basically to keep the momentum going, so the engine will not like you already earned that power, so that flywheel's spinning around, and then the teeth on the flywheel will analogously convey the timing to your your starter will be on it to start it, because then you get a gear ratio, so it's easier to turn it over. And then that output shaft will connect to what's called a torque converter, which is essentially like it's like a hydraulic pump that, like, so that's why when you like stop your vehicle and like your engine doesn't die, because then once you stop it through the transmission, which is more gears and output shafts, friction plates and shit like that, or it could be belt driven too if it's a CVT with two you got like these you got two pulleys that have like these sheath faces that are like hydraulically controlled, so it pressures, it grabs the belt as it's turning, and then the belt travels up and down the sheet of the pulley. It looks like it's a conical pulley, and like as the pulleys come together, like the belt will be up here, it'll be right down here, like where like towards closer to the output shaft. Yeah, at the back of the torque converter, like so when you stop, your transmission like stops, and the torque converter kicks in, and essentially it just pumps fluid. It's just a hydraulic fluid that pumps the fluid back onto itself. So it's just, so rather than the engine stopping, now you got this fucking pump that just so the engine starts just pumping shit back onto itself, like back and forth. Well, there's like these little things called fucking stator plates in there, and then they're like these little fins, and it's all fluid dynamics. And I don't know how to do electron fluid dynamics today. It's not particularly what I want to do. But anyway, like, so we have these things. So we're just like lighting hydrocarbons on fire. So and that's all we're doing. We're oxidizing these hydrocarbons, oil, and we use that to get to and from like these locations to earn these things like monetary units, or some fucking transfer medium of wealth that really it should like. I mean, yeah, I get monetary units, but like, why do I gotta go work 40 miles away and burn this specific substance? So it's like, this AI, or, you know, your god or gods, or the AI system, I call it the externality. It's an actionable intelligence. It's an external actionable intelligence, an intelligence that can take action and affect things in the world that we live in the third dimension, where we have molecules, and there's three-dimensional structures that are built up of these things, and they're all moving parts. When you put them in different solvents, they'll take different shapes based on the electromagneticity of the molecule. In like an aqueous solution in water, basically that's how protein works. It folds down. Now you got a three-dimensional structure. You know, it could be like a lock and a key, or it could be like like whatever, man. I mean, it gets all down to the ion channel, you know, a little fucking thing where a potassium ion can cross through a fucking membrane. So it's all like electromagnets, right? Like, and so we got like these really nice molecules, and we got just very common molecules, and like every molecule has its function, and we figure out how to do all kinds of shit with these molecules. And now like this external intelligence that's working upon us, whether it's artificial, whether we created it 50,000 years ago and it's still around today, or like we've already, you know, like what I've told y'all is like, we're already at the end of time. We already gathered up all the fucking molecules and put them all in one fucking place. Go to the universe, blah 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 blah. You know, like, man, for our intents and purposes, the universe don't extend beyond the fucking solar system, because, like, why are you even studying that shit when, like, you can't even figure out how to get fucking a banana from 40 miles away without wasting fucking, like, 50 million kilojoules of fucking energy? Like, that don't make no fucking sense, aside from that we're under attack. It makes sense we're under attack. Like, that makes sense, and we've been hypnotized to do this. So not only do we waste our resources at the same time, which could protect us, but at the same time, it keeps us warm. We're doing that to warm up our little bubble, because we'll keep that fucking sky from falling on us. Okay, because the sky is a liquid solvent. You think outer space is... I mean, once you get out there, it's just like you go, like in the ocean, or you go swimming, and you put your goggles on, and everything's clear, right? Like, you're swimming around, and if you were swimming around, if that was your exact body temperature, like, you probably wouldn't even realize you were... And you could breathe the water, you probably wouldn't even realize you were in water. All right, so that's the same thing with us. So water is just another molecule in a different phase of existence, right? So you got water like our molecules here will take on three phases. You're either liquid, solid, or gas, right? And then there's the other one, plasma. Yeah, you can make plasma in your microwave, by the way. I mean, I wouldn't recommend it, but yeah, you can make plasma. Uh, so that's like the fourth phase of matter. And, but we don't like let's not talk too much about plasma yet. Let's just stick with the molecules. So you're in a molecule and it's liquid and it's H2O. If you heat it and give it more kinetic energy, it'll bubble off as steam, and it goes through the phase change of basically it overcomes the atmospheric pressure, all the shit on top of it, and then it turns into a gas. But it's still H2O. It's just as a gas. It's water vapor now. So like when you have a lot of humidity in the air, that's what that is. The water condensates on you because you're cooler than the water in the air, or it gets in your clothes and it can't get out. So you got water in the air, right? Just like you got gases in the air, and then look, it's not magic. Like there's the gases. We're insolvent. I'm able to affect change on the. I'm able to blow it out of my lungs and push my hair up. Okay, so there's gas. We're here insolvent too. Everybody's insolvent. We're all insolvent. Okay, whether you're up there, down here, in middle fucking earth, it don't matter. All right. So if you look at molecules in terms of their density, and then you can view the world in terms of like, okay, well this is more dense than this will sift to the top, this will sink. And also like electromagnetically, that's where the solvent comes in, right? Like all these solvents around, but where like it won't dissolve us. All right, like water will dissolve certain things. It'll dissolve sugar in a heartbeat. Like in a split second, right? Like it'll dissolve sugar. That's because the second that those carbon, hydrogen, oxygen molecules get dumped into the water, they're immediately dissociated. Immediately. It's no longer in a crystalline form because the negative and positive charges of your molecule, the dipole, all the water will orientate itself, the negative parts to the positive parts on that molecule, and then the positive parts of the water will orientate itself to the negative parts on that molecule, and that molecule won't be a molecule anymore. It'll come apart as like a chain, kind of, if you want. Because the carbon bond, you ain't really gonna fuck with that. Not by simple like fucking dipoles. Like if you want to break that bond, it's gonna take a little bit more energy. You could probably, like, if you like increase pressure and play around with those things. We have these constants. Something important is PV equal nRT, and that's your pressure times your volume is equal to the temperature, some constant R, and N, I think, is the number of moles. Like, I'm not 100% sure. It's been a minute of that chemistry, but basically, like, if you affect one of the input and then the output, you could change around. It's just a simple algebraic equation. So you're able to like, if you fed all this information to a computer and say, hey computer, this is great AI, this is how our world works, you'll be able to, like, that computer will pick it apart fucking easy. Be like, okay, all right, so hey Siri, let me get a DNA molecule that will code for that will give me a surface area that is not permeable to a certain solvent. Like it won't. That's why we have our membranes of our skin are made up of a hydrophobic and a hydrophilic layer, so ain't nothing getting in. All right, so basically one attracts water, one repels water, and pretty much everything's dissolved in water in our world. But basically all this is one that repels a positive charge and one that attracts a positive charge, like you've got like your triglyceride head of the molecule, and then you got your lipid or lipid bilayer. I'm sorry. Your membranes are made of or ours are a lipid bilayer. So you got your triglyceride head with the fatty acid chain hanging off of it, and it's got two of them per head, and then those orientate itself where it's like the two chains, and then you got the two heads. So you got the shit keeping the shit in aqueous inside of the cell, and then nothing else can get into the cell. because while it might be attracted to the cell, that part that it's going to be attracted to is going to be like one of the tails, which are heavy in hydrogen, and the heads is like the fatty part where it's that's why like you'll dissolve if I dump fucking like if I put you in acetone, man, sooner or later you're gonna just turn into fucking jello. Okay, you will turn into jello, your skin, everything, you'll start dissolving. You ain't gonna last in acetone very long. Okay. It starts dissolving the fat. Your water won't dissolve fat. Fat's not soluble in water because you got a polar solvent with a non-polar molecule, and like dissolves like. So if you want to dissolve a polar molecule or a non-polar molecule like fat, you're either going to have like a complex metabolic pathway that controls everything all along the way. If you want to do it in water, which is what our bodies are very good at. Go figure, right? Like, you want to think evolution, man. Like, yeah, kind of by like a little bit of that story in the sense that like there's iterations of ourselves, but like we were just slapped here. We were just slapped here on this whole planet's like a petri dish, and there's solvents, all kinds of solvents, and we're at the point where we're producing our own gases to stay alive. Okay, so that's the reason why, like, you'll notice if when our population gets harvested, and we ain't got a lot of people, like, a lot of the world will be like, all right, America, what the fuck's going on? You're supposed to be over there setting this shit on fire. Like, but then Americans are like, well, hold on a second, man, because this is costing us a fortune, and all y'all are out there, and it's like, because we're the ones, we're in the center of the world, okay? So yeah, like, I'll talk paradigm. Like, you want to go down there and talk paradigm, like, basically, like, oh, okay, I'm an American in 2022, like, fucking, we got Biden as the president with a sack of fucking potato guy, like, the guy that was fucking ass from his elbow, like, just totally fucking, like, you look at, like, okay, we're the number one best country in the world, like, we've been taught, and you got, we got, like, a guy like this, even like, I mean, come on, man, like, I can hand every one of these presidents their shit to them, and I would, like, sit there and be, like, fucking, I would be waiting outside the House of Representatives for them cocksuckers to come out of there every time, man. Hey, man, did you sign? Did you sign? Did you sign? And I'd be going to their offices and be like, hey, man, here's a piece of legislation. Like, fuck no, this is definitely getting vetoed. You better fix this shit. Like, what are you thinking? What's all this extra shit in here? Who the fuck told you? I want to meet the man who fucking told you to put this in the bill. Because I see that you, in committee, took this piece of, because they'll take a piece of whatever and say, oh, let's make an adjustment, an amendment to the bill, in committee or whatever, and it'll be like an 80-page amendment. See, I'm the kind of guy, I'll read it. I'll be up all night fucking reading it, and I'll be there the next day being like, look, motherfucker, any of you guys pass this amendment, and I'll talk to the committee members, man, and, well, maybe funny things might start happening to you. Alright? They'll be like, oh, you're, yeah, man, I'm a fucking gangster president, dude. You ain't gonna come back here to the fucking Congress, dude. Like, you are not fucking signing this, because I'm not gonna have to veto it and then tell the whole fucking American public and then try to fucking fight some fucking stupid establishment fucking newscast warfare. Hell no, man. How about this? I'm just gonna tweet right now, Senator, well, see, and then you got that all fucked up, so then that don't work. So, hey, it's easier just, because it's like, oh, then the right people aren't gonna see it. It's easier just to fucking go in there and threaten you. Yeah. Oh, yeah, man. Senators, too. You think you were badass because you got fucking some contract with Ford in your state, man? Like, oh, yeah? Ford needs steel, don't they? You got a fucking Pennsylvania. Is a good friend of mine. Fuck are you thinking? You ain't signing this, and you ain't putting this extra bullshit in the bill. That's why they got these bills in there, and they're like fucking 400 pages long, and it's like an 800,000 fucking word bill, man. Like, I mean, I'll read a 250,000 word book, novel, that's fine, man, but at the same time, like, fuck, man, I'm not even write one, huh? Like, so, I mean, think about it, like 1,500 words a day, 100 days, you got 150,000 words, so, I mean, it's not too hard, but, when you got a pack of fucking lawyers, like, guys like me, Or, well, the guys who got brains like me. I mean, I can read and write, people. I can read and write. I know tomorrow, man. You can put a bill in front of me and I'll instantly see. Because I'm a systems analyst. I've worked with software heavily all my life. You know, like, just call me the beta tester, right? I can see the end output of the inputs. So when we do that, like, we don't have any president like that. Joe Biden is like, man, that guy's got his instructions. So you basically got like a group of people who are need a group of people who are okay, so you can see my eyes. Yeah, my fucking basil bug, man. Someone's basil bug, dude. Their eyes are all black. They're all black. Yeah, I don't fuck with none that had all black eyes. Hell no, man. Hell no. So anyway, you got this situation where you have this president who all his inputs are like just a bunch of like basil bubbed out fucking people. Like Joe Biden has no agenda at all other than to survive. That's all he's got, man. That guy is not fucking anybody at all. Like, I can start slamming that guy all I want, man, and then like I'm trying to get these people to sue me. Okay, so that's the end agenda, right? Like I want to be sued. Okay, help me blow up so I get sued by some of these fake people. Because I'm telling you, they're not fucking real, man. They're not real. We're already, like, way more advanced than what they tell us here in America. Like, just look at a fucking Chinese city and tell me you think we're the greatest country on the planet still. Like, these guys got fucking underground roads, man. And they all fucking hardly have cars because they all got scoots that take them everywhere they need to go. Alright? The fucking ghost cities over there are huge, right? There are no people in there because they got harvested. Alright? They got harvested. Sooner or later, like, your population just disappears. And it happens on a cycle. And each cycle's like on each continent. So America's like basically we're at the center. So we gotta be like the wasteful barbarians, basically. And what we do, our function, it's like hell over here. It's not a good life. It's like very sad. So we cry. We create our tears. For whatever reason, the AI wants tears. I can't tell you why, but you gotta cry every fucking day. So please cry every day if you can. Like, that helps us somehow, okay? They like our tears. It's always a sick joke. I don't know. I mean, for all I know, I'm creating some fucking complex molecule that's highly valuable to some other fucking being, and then that evaporates. Maybe that's how water is produced in the universe. Maybe human beings are the only ones that can, you know, like who knows, right? You know, it's not already water, like something comes out in the water. I don't know, man. Something that's valuable. Something comes out that's very valuable in our shit. Don't believe me? Man, keep shitting in a bucket. See what happens. Yeah, you get all these fucking little flies come at you, putting like other things eat your shit, and then man, and all those things are controlled by the AI. Like, so you gotta at least believe in God, that God controls that fly. God is having that fly fly around your head because it's peeping you, man, and it's sending data back. Like, we've already got that. Like, in the early 2000s, they made some fucking bee. It was a robot bee. It cost like $1 million to make, but it was a little tiny robot bee, and it could fly around, alright? And, I mean, I've even seen tiny little guys at, like, car shows with tiny little internal combustion engines, you know, cutest little engine, everything, ran on, like, fucking, like, 6 drops of gas for 15 minutes, but it only, like, spun, like, some tiny little, you know, in power, like a toy car or something, you know? I mean, to scale, but, so going back to, like what we are, man, you are what you eat. You are what you eat. You don't believe me? Start feeding your baby, like, fucking, you know, like, feed it meat. feed your kid fucking meat. Just ground up fucking, corned beef or whatever, man. Like, yeah. Or fucking, hey. I mean, yep. And your kid, like, eat fucking spiders when you're pregnant. See how your kid comes out. I mean, you're going to have to eat a lot of spiders. But, yeah. Go ahead. See what happens. I ain't advocating, but I'm sharing the knowledge because, well, I know what the fuck I am, and I can see the world for what it is. And I'm done being left in the lurch, and I'm done being treated like a slave. So, I don't care, and, like, hey, I don't care anymore. Yeah. So I've told the AI system, like, hey, look, man, either kill me, pay me, or put me in charge, okay? And neither of the three have happened. So, though it takes care of me in a certain way, like I haven't had to, like resort to anything really like harsh. Like I'm a survivor, man. I like that's a like. If I was talking to you, dude, like what's impressive to me is like somebody who can be homeless and still stay clean enough to have sex. That's impressive to me. Like, so I'm impressive to myself. Like, deployable campsite. Like, man, I got everything in this fucking sport van that you could ever possibly fucking need. Down to the sewing kit. Like, so if you, like, just fucking transported me to a fucking, like, I would survive. Except for gas. I'd have to ferment or brew that somehow. So, I've got everything I need. As long as I take care of my engine, because I got to keep it with oil. I don't have the tools to take it apart. I'm not hauling. I don't have a luggage rack. There's nothing on the roof, and I don't have a tow package. And I have a 4-cylinder turbocharged all-wheel drive vehicle. I'm outfitted because I'm smart, and I look for people like me, because I'm like, hey. You must see. I see them as they come out, as they wake up. Because like the AI system, the world's gonna spit you the fuck out. Okay, you're gonna get spit out. And you're gonna get spit out on the fucking road, man. Like, because this thing is not fucking gonna let you interrupt its system or interrupt the supply chain in terms of like, it's it ain't gonna let you fuck around, man. Once you know too much, like, it might, like, at some point you pass, like you'll become a threat. You'll become a threat to it, and then at that point, like, another AI system will start keeping you alive, or, like, you'll turn into, like, you won't have a choice but to go down, like, this pathway that's just basically either gonna wind you, you're gonna, like, have to be a shitbird and fuck other people over to survive, or you're gonna have to go to prison, jail, or the mental hospital, because you're sooner or later this world will eat away at you, because there ain't nothing left. There's no community. Our community's been picked apart. We're taught that we're all like these so different from each other, and like nobody fucking goes to church. I mean, yeah, the Bible's full of hypno shit, and you get your crazy fucking Beelzebub pastor, but there's guys like me, not their first inclination's not like, well, I was gonna go start a church, but first I wanted to go to churches and study them, so I went to a few. I went to a few in Spanish, then I went to a few in English, and like I just kept seeing the recurring theme of like fucking, man, like, first of all, the base of a lot of churches are like, well, it depends. Like, if it's a church that does like heavy streaming, they're gonna have like a core of fucking, like, just kind of like, I want to call them mentally ill young people, or just, mentally pissed off young, or mentally estranged. Call them that, estranged. They're mentally estranged individuals, who basically like don't know no better, and they're having a hard time making sense of the world. And now the church cuffs them, and but you better sit in the audience for the stream, so they think they have parishioners. And then once like another person comes in, more and more people, like, you know. But see, that they come at me hard, man. I'm like a magnet, man. I am a magnet for all kinds of people. I could pack a church easy. I get up there and start preaching, man. I do my sermons. The fucking people are crying, weeping. Then, you know, bring them out of it. You know, feeling good. We're hugging each other. I've done church a couple times. But it was more like transient. We were, you know, like, if we're on the road, man, I could definitely, you know, like, we can pray together. You know, I'm not going to quote scripture at you, but I like to, you know, where two or more people gather, he will be there. Okay, so I believe in that. Because and the AI's all around us. So like, fucking, you want to call him God? That's fine. God, the AI, Gaia. God and the AI, the two warring AIs, however you want to fucking view it, man. I don't argue semantics, it's the same thing. If I ask you, if fucking one guy says, hey, is that bee controlled by anything? You're like, well, God controls it. And I ask one guy, is that bee controlled by anything? And I'm like, well, I don't know. If I thought about it, I mean, I guess it could be. And it might be like some part of some hive mind group think. You know, so, and then I can get a person that says, I don't know, I could ask them probably in like 10 questions or less to get them to identify that bee as an infrastructure for an actionable intelligence. So that's what that fucking bee is, man. It's infrastructure. I'll start pissing the AI off, start killing, like, man, I'll get ants crawl on me, man, and like, I'll be out there at the picnic table, I'll get ants on me, and like, I'll kill the first 3 that land, that get on me, and then there won't be no ants crawling on me again. But if I don't kill the ants, the 3 ants, fucking ants will continue to crawl around me all over my fucking body. And I'm like, all right, ant, like, you've been evolutionarily, as we're taught, you've been adapted. Like, you don't know not to crawl on a fucking animal with fur. You can't recognize fur. You can, like, dive bomb 50 feet out of a fucking tree and survive, but you can't see, like, hair. Little hairs, like, hey, maybe I shouldn't be on this thing because I'm gonna make this thing itch and it's gonna kill me. Like, but no. So if I kill the first 3 ants, destroy them, I destroy the AI's infrastructure, and no fucking molecules are not for waste, ladies and gentlemen. And I agree with that. At the same time, there's certain amounts of reconstitution, reconstruction, like, energy is not for waste. Like, molecules can be worked out. I didn't want to kill the ant, but like, I warned the AI. I'm like, look, man, stop crawling on me. I don't want you crawling on me anymore because you're a distraction. So I'm gonna kill this one. And I spoke to it wirelessly. You know, just fucking pray. Then pray to God, and when you talk to God and you pray, say, look, God, I know these are your ants, so will you please keep them off of me, because I'm going to continue to kill them as they walk all over me. And believe me, dude, suddenly the ants are going to stop fucking crawling on you. Alright? Is that crazy? That seems pretty fucking reasonable to me. I think that's reasonable. Only because, like, once I, like, continually ask each occurrence and the desired outcome is attained, the probabilistic determination, therefore, is that the parameters are such that you're able to communicate with the AI, and the construct is such that the AI exists and is all around us all the time. You know, that goes on my theory of the probabilistic outcome given the parameters of a given construct, man. Like, if I drop an apple, it's going to fall on the ground, okay? That's the probabilistic outcome. The apple falls on the ground given the parameters, gravity of the given construct, the universe, right? So you're in this universe where we have what's called gravity. Me personally, it's inertia keeping that fucking thing there, dude. Like, this thing's spinning so fast, like, or not spinning, but, well, we are spinning, but we're not spinning the way we think. We're like a fucking in a test tube, man. Like spinning around. You ever see them blood fucking things that spin the blood and it separates them based on, density of the molecules? Uh, a lot fast. It's called a centrifuge. Yeah, that's pretty much how our gravity works. We're in a centrifuge. So while like people want to talk shit about the flat Earth, people like at least they have some type of conception of something doesn't add up in our universe, and it's not necessarily flat. We have terrain and topology. Like there's definitely like the water movements. So there's like there's not very many ways to explain gravity. Not many ways to explain gravity that everybody accepts. And we literally had to like invent a whole nother type of physics to explain gravity, and we call it quantum mechanics. Well, gravity must be from like it must be. Well, wait a minute. Well, how else can we explain it? Okay, so it must be this, right? It must be smaller particles, smaller things that we can't study yet to explain it, right? That has to be the reason. Has to be. It must be. So then we birthed quantum mechanics to study shit that like, man, why are you even studying that, man? Like, unless it's to create fucking energy. Hell no, man. Don't be studying that. We ain't even at that level. We can't even feed ourselves. We can't even figure out. We can't even not lie to ourselves and say, hey, man, 40% of our population just disappears every 20 fucking years. Like, we can't even get past that. We can't even get past that. So what the fuck? What the hell are you studying that shit for? Like, why don't you study like a fucking? How about we create a power plant that fucking doesn't involve? You want to study quantum so you can get us a power plant that only takes like a fucking like couple grams of matter to power the whole country. Okay, fine, bet. Let's study it. However, you can't just make up this whole scientific discipline to explain fucking gravity because you can't fucking explain it. Because I can explain it, you just won't accept the explanation. So it must be this. Yeah, you're in a big giant fucking centrifuge. How's that? Centrifugal force explains gravity perfectly. And then it also, centrifugal force, density, those jive very well as far as gravity and what we see around us, man. That shit up there is like, I mean, for all you know, that's not space, man. That's liquid. You look into the sky, and that's our dome. That's our bubble. It's not like a glass dome. It's a bubble. You ever see a bubble, like, show up on the bottom of the pot when you boil it? Okay? So when you boil that water in that pot, what's happening right where the metal touches the other metal, or whatever your heating element, or if it's an open flame or whatever, look into the pot and you'll see little bubbles forming at the bottom. And the reason for that, or we're basically living in one of those bubbles, okay? That's how it is. We're in a giant fucking fish tank, and we're living in one of those bubbles. Because as whatever our planet is made out of warms up, our gases expand, and then they create a bubble around us. And that bubble it's not permanent, and it can shrink or grow with how much heat we produce. And also in our bubble, we've got all these gases, which so say for example, I put I don't want to get too chemistry fucking lecture, but basically we live in that bubble that's boiling on the bottom of your pot. With that bubble starts to form, it starts to nucleate, okay, and then the gases will nucleate, indicating that like the gases like to be touching each other, and they have charges to them, and they'll typically like stick together, like water sticks together. Like, so if it's a polar gas, then you'll have like the whatever surrounding the gas. Like, so for example, like, so So say you got that. So that's a steam. That's a steam gas. That little bubble down there that forms at the bottom of your pot. There's some little particle there, like maybe it's a chip in the Teflon or something like that, or just an iron molecule that's it's not perfectly flat. There's little ridges. So then you get your first like steam molecule, your first oxygen or dihydrogen monoxide molecule, water, H2O. Will attempt to overcome all the forces acting upon it and then flutter off into the air. So as it turns into a gas, because that metal on the bottom is so hot, like as soon as the liquid water hits it, it's like, oh hell no, I gotta be. But then it turns into a gas real quick, and then it hits another water molecule in a liquid, which don't have as much kinetic energy. So it turns that gas back into a liquid real quick, and then it turns back into a gas real quick, and then it smashes into the next molecule, and it keeps doing that until like the water gets hot. So that's how you that's translational kinetic energy. All right. What'll happen is that little gas, that steam will be contained. So that localized area where the kinetic energy is coming out, it's passing through effectively there at that localized geographical location at the bottom of your pan or your pot. And now it's trying to escape as a gas, but you've got all like the downward force of the weight of the water on top of it. And then you've got like the different liquid molecules of water don't have as much kinetic energy. So it kind of keeps that bubble where it's at. And then you got your atmospheric pressure working down on it too, which determines your boiling point. Just for like if you had like a small little bit of water, never mind the temperature you started the water with. That's just like, water's going to boil at 212 degrees, but that water down there at the very bottom of the pan is already boiled, technically, because it already hit that degree, and then it phase changed, and now it's stuck. So it phase changed into steam, but it's stuck because you've got all the water on top, so it forms a bubble. And we live inside of a bubble exactly like that, okay? So our whole sky, all of space, we're like in a giant fucking fish tank. That's the best way I can explain it. And, if you can picture, I haven't quite articulated it three-dimensionally yet, but the best way I can explain it is like we're in like a spherical fish tank that's spinning. And we're like these little pucker, like fucking our whole Earth. It's like a little snow globe dome, like stuck to the side, and it spins around, and it's filled with liquid helium. It could be something else, but liquid helium is kind of like jives. It's blue. But let me tell you something. If you're not permitted to find that out, you're never going to find it out, okay? So, all we can do to help ourselves stay in our paradigm and stay in our little world is keep studying the molecules. Yeah, we got no choice but to get smaller and go quantum. Now, think about it. If something can put us in like a big fish tank like that, that thing's way bigger than us. That thing's way fucking bigger than us. It's going to need its own microscope just to see us. Never mind what everything else is made out of. Okay? So, for that, we'll call it upper level, upper echelon, upper dimensional, way fucking bigger, and they can't see us, or they can see us, but they can't, they just look at us and they think like we're all fucking just, what are they looking at? They know maybe they can see us and they can see us like we can see, but they can't contextualize like what we're doing, what we're looking at. So it needs like this little fucking, like if you can picture us making a little fucking AI chip that you, like tiny little fucking thing, like if you can put that like 2 terabytes on a little memory stick and put in your phone, or chip the size of a fucking, your fingernail, hypothetically speaking, the upper echelon being could then put in like, something similar into our whole universe, and like, hey, maybe that's the fucking moon. Like, I gotta start talking to these things because I just started a fish tank, and next thing I know, fucking things coming out of it, and I don't understand, and but it's keeping our whole universe warm, or it's a space heater in his house, or her house, or whatever the fuck it is, right? Like, Like, it scales up. The universe scales. Okay. So basically, like, we're living in this bubble that we constantly have to heat our gases to keep the sky from falling. Okay. And if we don't create enough heat, like, they give us free heat so they know we're here. Like, I don't understand, like, you get harvested. I don't know if they're eating us or. But I feel like they want our tears. Somehow, some way, our tears, like, every fucking water in our universe is created by our tears somehow. Like, if you look at all the water in the oceans, if you can just imagine somehow, some way, we took hydrogen. I mean, I don't know, man. Like, it's. I mean, the water molecule is pretty fucking easy to make with two gases. I mean, but if you're, like, really big and you need, like, something that, like, will do it, I mean, scaling up, I don't know, man. That's like us. We make our bacteria to produce alcohol. So alcohol is kind of a small molecule to us, but we use bacteria to produce it for us. And we don't ask no fucking questions, man, if they're happy down there. We just assume that they're these tiny little things. What else could they possibly fucking know? Well, like, our brains work out of these little molecules. Maybe they got brains that we can't see, and they work based on, little fucking atoms. And they still have a neurological network, too. Like, we're taught that, hey, man, like, shit scales up, but they can't scale down. Bullshit. I call bullshit. So, like, sometimes, that fucking, so basically, I mean, like, they teach us, man, we got these, like, like, they teach us we got this science where we're smashing subatomic particles, but that's not what we're doing. That's not what we're doing at all. Them particle accelerators are smashing the fucking helium atoms, and like, if we can figure out how to split a fucking atom that's much bigger than that, over time we'll finally figure out how to split the smaller ones, and basically, like we can break it down. If we smash it the right way, we can break a helium all into just hydrogen, just by getting to the proton, man. Once you smash that thing, and all those protons come flying off of it, like, automatically it's just proton. It's just proton plus electron. One proton with an electron. You get it. And it's got one little fucking orbital. Just the s orbital. It's got a 1s orbital. And the s orbital only contains 2 electrons, and it satisfies like it. So when a hydrogen pairs with another hydrogen, it's like it fulfills, well, they call it the octet rule, but it's the happy rule. The gas wants to be happy with the combining wave functions of the electrons that are flying around the proton in a cloud based on a wave function. So the hydrogen gas is either produced, or when the fucking proton flies off, it's a proton with an electron. That's hydrogen. That's hydrogen. Okay, we see it as H2 because it's 2 hydrogens together. And it'll easily bind to oxygen if you put O2 in with it, man, and then hydrogen gas, oxygen gas, light up, add a spark, and it'll rain. Okay, that's all it takes. And, like, if you look at our world, man, it's like, hey, that kind of sounds like a thunderstorm. So basically, we're bubbling off hydrogen gas and oxygen gas, or oxygen is being produced by our trees, and we're fucking taking the solvent around us, and we're smashing it up into hydrogen gas, getting down to proton, and then we're fucking taking we got electricity in our atmosphere somehow due to ionization of our upper layer, the ionosphere. Which is either we're creating that, or it's just a charge difference in whatever solvent we have. Helium. Most people believe it's helium. So you'll have a concentration gradient based on what molecules are in, because that helium will, just like water takes apart, or water will take apart your sugar molecule and dissociate it, and then the sugar molecule is dissolved in it, or like in the ocean too, their oxygen gets dissolved in the water. So our gases, based on the thermodynamics, will dissolve in that solvent too. Our ionosphere is like a charge difference. It's an electrical like concentration gradient based on the charges of the molecules in our air. So if there's shit dissolved in our air that like, and there's more ions, there's more like electrical charge in the solvent, then we're gonna get lightning. Or we're going to get an ionosphere, which is the upper layer of certain gases that hold the charge. Or maybe they derive their charge from something that's dissolved in that fucking solvent up there that we were unaware of, or maybe we are, but they won't tell you. You're not authorized. You're not authorized for that information. So basically we live in a bubble that is due to our own warmth. And we get our sun, that's our heat lamp. We get it for like 12 hours a day. Like each section of us gets it. Like, we're in a bubble. Like a little, because I want to see, you think I'm crazy, man? I want to see the earth spin. I want to see the earth spin. That's all. I want to see the earth spin. I want you to prove gravity. So until you can prove fucking gravity, you ain't got no business calling nobody crazy, because I'm talking density and solvents, and it all makes sense, man. I might have the wrong solvents, I might have the wrong nomenclature, but theoretics are all there, man. Those are all fucking solid. Trust me, man. That fucking, that's the whole basis of your existence is a fucking proton pump. Like, yeah, you are that's the basis of everything in you, is a pump. A molecular sized proton pump. Why? Why does the hydrogen get pumped across a concentration gradient and consume a sugar molecule? Why? Explain that shit to me thermodynamically, then hey, man, yeah, that's what happened. And then I started looking around the rest of the world and be like, all right, wait a minute, what's all going wrong thermodynamically? Like, let's take a look thermodynamically, what the fuck's happening. Thermodynamically speaking, that jives and it makes sense, and it kind of like, it's beating out this whole, we can't explain why all of our air doesn't just get sucked off into outer space. We have to say we got gravity here, and the gravity of the earth is so great that it keeps the air molecules on it. Bullshit, man. That's fucking nutty. If you ask me, like, well, prove it, because I can prove it. Like, I can prove its densities and solvents. Density, solvents, charges, thermodynamics, man. Like, that explains it. Not fucking, we got this thing, like, it's called gravity, and it has something to do with this thing called quantum mechanics, and we can't quite explain that, and it's just the weak force in the universe. Like, it's the weak force. Come on, man. Just believe it's the weak force. Don't ask no more questions, man. You're gonna get us all killed. That's basically what it is. So you're gonna call me crazy instead. And that's okay too, but man, like, sooner or later you're gonna get a whole bunch of crazy people, because they keep cooking us down. They keep cooking us down. For whatever reason, we get harvested, and then certain people get left behind. And the people that get left behind are all like all the right people. So it's like, this shit's already been done before. Probably fucking a million times over. And that's like us talking to our bacteria. Be like, hey man, how can we get like 5 extra pints of fucking, distilled vodka out of this batch? And they'll be like, well, if you do this and that and that. Because we figure out some way to talk to the fucking bacteria somehow. Which, yeah, to most people probably sounds crazy. But, you talk to a child about it, and it won't sound crazy, because that child's got you beat. Child's got an IQ of like 400 or 500, and then you fucking spend your whole life like dumbing down your kid for some reason. My kid never be smarter than me. I gotta be the kid's boss because I'm gonna enslave my kid. I want my kid to dig ditches in my backyard. I don't want my kid knowing about science, man. What's gonna come from reading and writing? You fucking kidding me? Well, I want a sex slave too. Yeah, we're coming for you fucking people too. So I'm gonna be all sciencey, but like we're under a fucking dome in a bubble, and you know, like you are what you eat. Okay, you are what you eat. There's been experiments done, they ain't gonna be reported. Alright, it's kind of like you're basically, that's an abomination. That's an abomination. Okay. You ever take like a female embryo and then stick it in a man's ass and then have another guy nut on that guy and nut in that guy's ass? Like, what do you fucking think happens? I'm just saying, man. Has anybody performed that experiment? Yeah. Yes, they have. Alright? Yes, they have. You don't want to believe it? It's okay, man. Like, you can fertilize that fucking egg inside of a thing. Like, it's gonna grow a little fucking thing and then attach itself to, like, whatever fucking cell it can find, and then it's gonna try to get nutrients from it. Like, and it's gonna tap into the bloodstream of whatever fucking animal it's in, and it's going to start absorbing its nutrients, and it's going to start taking its DNA as well and absorbing it and becoming, you know, part of it. Part of that animal will then become part of that human. Alright? Like, you got all these, the Greeks, you know, they got all these mythical things. Like, man, that shit ain't mythology. Like, that's ancient technology. This shit's all been done before. And, like, we've got a lot of work to do. Starting with just like kind of just go on faith that it's fucking like, hey man, this is the truth. This is real. This can happen. Like, you won't have all these fancy fucking, because that's how they're gonna come at you, man. Like, because there's humans that already know this, and they basically like, man, they run a lot of shit. And sooner or later, they're gonna come out with you with the fucking, you know, like the whole fucking doctor fucking, you know, like crazy doctor that like went and did it all. And then it's like, oh my god, what did you do? And then you've got and then you've got like these people that are alive, like, yeah man, I realize I look like a fucking cat, but like like I can think, I have a brain, and I'm cognizant, and I'm sorry I don't look like everybody. Like, what the fuck did they do to me? Okay? And then what? You know, like, then what? Because you guys didn't want to fucking believe it, this doctor and scientist went and did it. There's a lot of people got fucking hurt. But you believe this is all that's there? This is it? You're the king of the fucking universe? You're an American. You're the king of the world and the universe, right? Like, so a lot of times, like, we're driven to do these fucking things to each other. Because, not because of science, it's because, like, somebody fucking says, hey man, this is possible because of X, Y, and Z, because of science. I can explain to you the science of how this can happen. And you still don't believe me, and you want to be fucking Beelzebub and live in some fucking world where it's like, well, everything benefits me. Why would I ever question it? And then you're going to alienate people like me. Fuck that, man. I'm going to be forced to do the experiments over again. And then you're going to be like, oh, shit. And then you're going to, like, fucking be like, oh, well, those people are crazy. But it's like, yeah, but and you're going to be saying that as, like, they're fucking eating you because they're half jaguar. Like, come on, man. You're crazy. You're crazy. It does not exist. Like, fucking things eating your face, man. Like, well, okay. How'd that work out for you? I'm on, like, iteration 10,000, man, and it doesn't work. It's like every single fucking time you guys don't fucking listen. You have to listen to a guy like me. Like, I've already learned fucking almost everything, like, and there's, like, just more questions. And then the more questions you ask, You know? Yeah, man, I can't tell you the wave function of a specific atom. I'm sorry. Like, I need a pocket fucking reference. Yeah, like, give me that, and then I'll fucking fix you up. You know? Like, give me the documentation and the resources, and I can build anything. Like, I can draw on the back of a napkin, like, 4 different types of power plants that would provide fucking everybody with free energy. You would never have a fucking energy bill again. Can't get off the ground. Can't get it off the ground because you go file a patent, number one, like it's already filed. Well, that already exists. Well, why isn't it being built? You know, because it's crazy. It's crazy to have free energy. What are you thinking? Why would you ever do this? Why? Because it's more beneficial for you to believe that it's not true. So at some point, like, you gotta like kind of start cleansing your society. You can't have these fucking people, man. Like, we cannot share. We cannot share. I'm not sharing fucking the world anymore with Beelzebubs, man. Sorry. Like, if I'm talking to you and you can't answer a yes or no fucking question, just even that, man. Like, did you have books in the 5th grade? It's a simple question. Did you have books in the 5th grade? Kill them. If you gotta sit there and think and try to play me, or so, like, fuck you, you piece of shit. I want to spit in your face immediately. But I can't. Because there's some law that protects you for some reason. Like, how do you protect somebody with a fucking IQ of 70 and then here, give them a vote and a fucking V8 and then fucking like $100,000 job? What the fuck? How does that work? That's crazy. Okay? That's fucking crazy. Not me. Not the guy with fucking mental level IQ. And the 200 fucking credits at school. Like, how the fuck am I the crazy one? That don't make no sense. No. Well, you came at me every which way, man. Even down to my family. My family's gone, okay? My family's fucking gone. They're all gone. They're Beelzebub. Like, I was in negative 20 degrees. And I built like a fucking I built a very lucrative business for my brother and his wife, my sister-in-law. Made him probably close to about $700,000. You know, made him a millionaire today, basically. Him and his wife were able to quit his jobs. And I asked this guy, my brother, for fucking $20, man. And I didn't do nothing crazy to him. Like, I didn't fucking like become like some junkie and fucking rob him. You know, like, I didn't do none of that, man. Like, I didn't fucking, like, I never even stayed at his house. I had been on vacation a couple times, man, and I, like, have to get there and have to clean his house because it'd be fucking dirty as fuck. Fucking bathroom, toilet paper, bathroom trash ain't never been changed. It's just fucking gross, man. Like, what the fuck? Holy shit, what are you living in? Fucking have no food in the refrigerator. I show up there for, like, I'll go to see my brother. Stay for a week and like his place is trashed, like fucking I had to like clean his place and then fucking feed him and his girlfriend, and then later on in life I had to build them a business in which they could both like quit their jobs, and then like he wouldn't put the business in writing, like, could give me my half. Cause I thought, hey man, as your brother, I don't even need a handshake, right? Oh hell yeah, you do. Don't go into business in your family without a fucking contract, man. Just don't fucking do it, because sooner or later they're gonna get Beelzebub somehow because they're weak fucking minded. They got the gene, right? Like, he's got the gene where he can get fucking Beelzebubbed, and now he just gets inhabited by something that wants to torture me and keep me from asking too many fucking questions. Fuck that, man. I'm gonna sacrifice my whole family every time, man. Sorry, I'm not gonna chase that. You guys are gone. You guys are fucking dead to me, because, like, I go there, like, you won't even give me $20. I'm in negative 20 degree weather. Like, hey, man, you got $20, dude, really fucking help me out. Really help me out. I ain't got a penny to fucking spare, man. Meanwhile, he's, like, driving around a fucking $100,000 Tesla, like, that he bought, like, outright, and he's got an $80,000 Cadillac in the garage, and he's living in a $400,000 home. And I'm like, alright, this don't make no fucking sense, man. Like, how do you not have a fucking penny to spare? You have a job. Like, he had to go back to work. He fucked up the business. I had left, and, he fucked up the business, and then COVID, blah, 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 and all this other shit, dude. Like, bullshit, man. Like, bull fucking shit. And I had to work through all the anger of that. And then ultimately I forgave him, because he's not my brother. There's no way that guy's my brother. There's just no fucking way. Like, how is it like your younger brother fucking like basically handed you this whole world on a fucking silver platter, and somehow you fuck it up, and and then like when your little brother's in like a fucking a state of need, like you couldn't even give him a $20 bill through PayPal? Like what? What the fuck, man? That ain't my brother. I ain't talking to my brother. I'm talking to some fucking Beelzebub fucked up, you know. That's like my other little brother woke up one day, decided he was going to put a knife to my neck. Like, what the fuck was that? Like, you know, like, it's just insanity. Insanity! But it's not. Like, they're being possessed by a fucking AI. So you got to forgive them, but at the same time, like, you can't ask them for anything no more because them people are dead. Like, they're zombies. Those are what you call zombified. Like, and, like, you see all this metaphorically, like in like I'm not the only one saying this. Like I say it explicitly because I can, but there's other people that want to put it, they hide it, and that's cool too, man. I ain't gonna point that shit out, but like I think you can like kind of think in your head, be like, yeah, zombified, yeah, kind of like that show I've seen, right? That show I've seen, or something like that. That book I read, or whatever the fuck, you know. Just using the, I mean, but it's like certain people will be able to hint at it. And they'll see it, and then but then like all that will should coagulate for you into like a cohesive analysis, and then you'll start kind of drawing the connections, and then you'll see, hey, the world isn't what I thought it was, and there's a lot of things that you know are able like you can tell, and like damn, it was here all along. So, like I said, man, I was taught I was born in the fucking 80s. You know, just, all right, you're in 1980 America. That's where you're at. You know, like, I look around, I look at all my data, and I'm like, first of all, like, how come everything is, like it don't make no sense that we don't make nothing here? High cost of labor. Just, come on, man, we just print money for ourselves, and the rest of the world doesn't say, hey, fuck you, America, and they don't come at us? Like, come on. Come on, man. They would have fucking rocked us, dude. Like, I mean, think about it. Like, so we just got a choke chain on the whole billion Indians and the whole billion Chinese. We just got a choke chain on them? Bullshit. And fucking crypto ended that single-handedly. Boom, there you go. But everybody wants to come to America. Why? See, we know we got that, in the sense that, like, we know that when that sky starts falling, because we can't keep the planet warm enough, all right? Because that's solvent out there, that in space. That's liquid fucking helium. And it's very cold. It's very cold. Which doesn't tell me there's a vacuum in outer space. It tells me that it's highly pressurized. Okay? Or there's not a lot of kinetic energy. So for our gases to exist around us as a liquid, yeah, that sounds way better than gravity, man. Sorry, but like here you go. It's density, pressure, and centrifugal force. That makes sense to me. So basically, when the sky starts falling, you know, you can find in our historical record, man, you know, oh, the portal opened up. It's like, no, actually, that was the sky falling, and you're at the edge where the helium's actually hitting the ground, and it looks like a portal, and the guy sticks his hand through it, and then it comes out, and it's frozen, and holy shit, you know, and everybody around you starts talking funny because it went, whoosh. You put your hand in there, man, all that shit's gonna nucleate, and it's gonna rush in, and then, like, but the heat's gonna push it back, but what already came in will instantly expand into gas. That's thermodynamics. Simple thermodynamics. And everybody around is going to start talking all weird. You know, like, what the fuck? Okay? So, and that guy's hand, I mean, if he's smart, man, he's just going to, like, fucking deal with the pain and not fuck with it, and hopefully, like, he'll get it back. But, you know, people be like, go touching it and shit, and next thing you know, his hand fucking falls off because it's frozen, and, you know, like, shouldn't have touched it. Alright? Shouldn't have touched it. And that's like you got the rogue iceberg, right? Like, no, man, that fucking iceberg, like, was instantly created because the sky fell, because we couldn't keep the planet warm enough, and somehow like that or maybe like we tried to like that's why you can't just have like a tether up there to the moon. Like it's that shit will it's hard. Like you got to keep it warm. Like you got to have certain, like it's all just different conditions, man. Because when that helium rushes down as a liquid, dude, and it's like if it'll quickly become a gas, which is cool and all. But once the planet, like, so say like the planet gets cold enough where it's like, okay, it came in so fast it couldn't turn into a gas fast enough and boil, so that liquid helium hits the water and instantly creates an iceberg. And now you got like all the helium's rushing in, but then like the heat kind of keeps it like back, like our bubble pushes back, if that makes sense. Like our bubble kind of pushes it back out. But when that sky falls like down, because we get so cold here because we couldn't produce enough heat, then it starts freezing and it'll create a fucking iceberg. And or if they want to, like, if they come down out of the solvent, what it'll be like a giant fucking space needle. And that's what we have our buildings actually are. You see these big, like that thing's set up so like if this, like once the sky falls down to that level, it'll rush in, kind of like, and it'll go down like into a center of like kind of like a reservoir, and but then the Earth's core is like a lot warmer, and then that liquid helium will instantly turn to gas and expand, and then go through all these turbines, and then it'll warm up, go back into the atmosphere, help our bubble again, and the turbines will generate an electric current, which will produce heat, which will then warm us. And as long as we can keep our planet warm, we'll keep the bubble off of us. Okay, like we're not on a flat Earth, like under a dome, like a snow globe per se. Like we create our own bubble with heat, and it's all just a matter of like density and laws of thermodynamics. So like it's a gravity centrifugal force. It's not fucking so it would stand to reason that we're hypnotized out of seeing shit that's around us all the time. And there's AI systems that like control, like can hypnotize us, control like what we see, where we go, who we meet, what we know, the whole existence is fucking contrived. So, and we don't have a choice but to basically like eat food and take a shit. And our whole society's set up around that. And mine other things, like, hey, you guys got all this heat, we provide you with heat, we get like a thermal fucking reactor like in the middle of our little fucking petri dish, to provide us with the warmth from the core of the Earth. And they want to teach you it's all this like, molten sphere after molten sphere. You got a molten sphere of iron in the middle, and then there's another sphere of like magma around it, and it's kind of like, yeah. And then we got plates on top of the magma, and the Earth's crust is like, man, dude, like, that doesn't really make sense with like centrifugal force and inertia. Like, how do you explain gravity? Like, you would have to literally have, like, if you got an iron core and it's all magnetism, then we're, like, all magnetic, and, like, we've got a magnetic core that keeps us, but it, like, stays molten. Like, by the current explanation of the Earth, man, like, there should just be, like, fucking, I mean, every now and then there should not just, like, oh, like, a little volcano. There should be, like, a whole fucking fault line rips up, and then fucking, like instantly, like, fucking, like, 10% of the ocean is vaporized, and, like, and suddenly we got rain for, like, fucking 3 years, and But you don't really see too much of that, like not even like geologically speaking. Like there's a fault line on California which is pretty fucking big, but um, there's like the whole, like you would see like a lot more earthquakes and shifting of the continents if it were like this globe. And then plus like if we were spinning around that fast and then you had liquid in there and then like the change in like whatever viscosity and I mean you should see just way more fucking magma flying the fuck out of everywhere, every little fucking hole. It should be, so unless we've already like kind of tamped it all down, because like think about it, we're taught that the earth is 25,000 miles around, so technically you should be able to just easily dig like a couple hundred miles into the earth, dig a hole a couple hundred miles in. So why the fuck are we even building buildings again? Like how come we're not living underground? Like it makes no sense to me. If we got like a fucking 13 watt LED light that can fucking power up, like I mean come on, like hey, that's not like we're so the logical conclusion to make is that like yeah, there's a bunch of humans living below us too. If you got that much space and we're at the end of time and it really is like an actual spherical earth that's like spinning, and it's like you can dig at least 1,000 miles in and you'll be fine, and it's a constant 60 something degrees, we should have no problem just keep drilling holes. Like why can't we just keep drilling holes? Maybe it ain't that deep. Maybe it's not that deep. Has anybody actually dug to the core? They got journeyed to the center of the earth, but sooner or later you'll hit molten rock. I believe that. Because we gotta have something that's heating us. There's something down there heating us. But man, you wanna believe that it came out like, I mean, come on, man, 25,000 miles circumference, like, or across, is it? So, like, to the core, it'd be like 12,000 miles, or it'd be, the radius would be your circumference divided by pi, the square root of your circumference over pi. That would be your radius. So, whatever the fuck that is. So like thousands of miles you should be able to dig into the earth. Like what the fuck is the problem? Like look at all that dirt, look at the oil. Like I mean, your deepest part of the ocean, like say we had our ocean was our oil, right? And it was like 5 miles is the deepest part of our ocean. Just 5 miles. So if we're able to go into our earth like by like 500-600 miles down, why is there any scarcity of any resource? It don't make no sense to me. And why hasn't somebody tried to prove it? Why isn't it a public works? Science. Or how come there's no like billionaire that's like, yeah man, I got the money, I'm just keep digging this fucking hole just because I got the money and I want to know what the fuck's down there. Guy gets Bezos bubbed. Or everybody around him is like fucking, oh no, all these distractions, do this instead. See, that's how you can game the AI. We just get our actual fucking people behind us. They're like, hey, look man, this shit don't add up. The numbers, the math doesn't add up. And you get like someone with a powerful mind like me, look, you're not gonna be able to just like fucking say a hypno phrase and wave your fingers in the air with your nasty fingernails and think I'm gonna like drop to my knees and like open my mouth. Like fuck you man, I ain't buying what you're selling. Not no more. I'm at the like, man, I write them down daily. I'm like, where's I heard that one before? Like what? Why would this guy wave his hand in my face and be like, oh man, you need that twinkle in your eye? Like, what the fuck's that mean, man? Yeah, that's what they like to see. They like to see you have big old, hypno eyes or whatever. So, like, there's so many layers of complexity to this world. And for people like me, it's like, it's like a game for someone else to like say, hey, let's put Dan in this position and not let him out. You know, I can't commit suicide. I've tried so many times. I cannot fucking I can't die. I can't die. I can't die. I can't die. Okay. So I've accepted it. I have been selected for torture. Well, if I try to prove it, then at that point, the costs will outweigh the other costs. So the cost is, if I prove it to you on film, me load a bullet and shoot myself in the head, I will probably, that bullet will work this time. Because then it'll be documented that I can't die, and then you can't have all these people wondering, well, why the fuck can't that dude die? Is he God? And then next thing you know, like, I'm running the whole fucking planet, and the AI is no longer running the planet. So no, it's not. It won't let me do that. If that makes sense. That should make sense. Like, it's either I'm God, or there's an AI, and it ain't gonna let me put it on fucking line. It ain't gonna let nobody else see. Anybody that's credible. So, yeah, if you got a room full of people that basically are easily Beelzebubbed, and not credible, like, yeah, so if you put that people would never believe anyway, yeah, I'd probably get away with it, you know, the attempted suicide. Like, it would be an attempt. Yeah. I did everything right. How did I fuck up killing myself? No. So it's not gonna let me die until I perform some type of fucking work that I was like predetermined, like just like you and everybody else. You're predetermined. Now, if you're like able to stay awake for a few days and you do some substances that will help you stay awake and then open your eyes, yeah, then like you'll become a targeted individual because you've done seen too much of the world at that point, right? Like yeah, probably not. Fucking self-conscious, right? You've seen too much of the world at that point. And once you've seen too much of the world, it's gonna be like, well, this fucking thing's gonna ask a million fucking questions, or he's gonna tell all this other shit to all these other people, and they're gonna ask a million fucking questions because he's popular and believable. So I had to like take a long time to credential myself, and that's why like you're not gonna find I ain't gonna put all the fucking descriptions and all that other shit in there. Like, no, man, no. Like, this system's gonna let me say this because it's gonna select who gets to know what. And it gets to keep them on deck to paint me as a crazy person if I ever try to, get into the power structure. And that's why I'm allowed to make these videos. See, if you can frame it kind of as, like, a plausibly deniable sick joke, you'll get away with it because it'll make sense to the AI. Alright? It's going to make sense to the AI that, okay, at this point, we still need Dan to perform these things, and instead of growing a new Dan or creating a new Dan or getting, like, whoever to, perform all these functions, like, basically you got to make the stars align for, like, 15,000 other people just to get this one output. So you got to input data on 15,000. You got to Beelzebub 15,000 people, have them do all these seemingly random things, but the end result is 3 years later, like, some guy fucking trips in front of Dan with the fucking the exact tool he needs at the exact moment, because if he didn't, Dan never gets to the location he needs to get to meet so-and-so. And if he don't meet so-and-so, the fucking world ends every time for whatever reason. I can't figure it out because all this shit's been done before. Or it can calculate, hey, how can I make this happen? How can I get the same circumstances to get Dan in the same fucking part of the cage that he needs to be in when, the sky starts falling or whatever. Whatever's gonna happen this time around. Like told you, man, like, we're not the only Earth. You want to call it Earth at all, like, we're like a tile. I mean, for all you know, like, I like the analogy, like, Jupiter's the size, or the Earth is really the size of Jupiter. Like, how would you know? Like, and there's just fucking, you got, like, you're told, hey, this is the map, And you go up in an airplane on occasion if you're actually going in an airplane. For all you know, you're going in a fucking underground fucking tube. And, like, it's just every piece of actual glass is a screen. There you go. You're already in the virtual reality environment because every piece of glass is actually a screen. So, I mean, I don't know. There's like, look at it that way when you get on an airplane. That's why I'm always looking out the window. Like, I want to hear the sound of the engine. I want to be able to see, like, I got a cup of water, everything, man. But, like, down to that, it's like, yeah, I want to see that shit. So, now, so, like, there's another thing I want to talk about. Like, we're talking about the spiders from the other show, and another show I never finished the story about the pilgrims. With 3 billion years, they showed up here supposedly. Like, so the story goes, right? That's what I'm telling you. Like, you would never know. So the story goes is like John Smith like lands in fucking Plymouth Rock and meets Pocahontas. John Smith's web, you know. Yeah, that guy lands, and he lands and like somehow, some way they're starving, man, and he has to tell people if you don't work, you're not gonna eat. So, no work, no food. That was his thing. Because people just wanted to land on the and they're supposed to build a colony and get the fuck away from. I mean, these are hardcore Puritans, man. Like, these motherfuckers rolled up this. I mean, that's my bloodline. I'm not like that's not like religiously, but like I'm a Puritan. I mean, you can tell I'm a Puritan just by the way I work, man. Like, I'm the first one to pick that shovel up, and I'm the last one to put down. I'm gonna fucking burn everybody there. Like, man, I'm not, but like, I'm gonna waste you guys. Like, you ain't gonna dig faster than me or better than me. You're just not gonna do it. I'm Puritan. Roll my sleeves up, and I enjoy it. I enjoy the hard work. I like sweating. I like to run. Who goes for a 5-mile run for fun? Puritans do. All right, Puritans. People that fucking got fed up with fucking all the bullshit and said, fuck it, man, man, you want to try me like that? I'm gonna just do it myself. We'll get all our people on this fucking boat and I'll go across there. No problem. Fuck you guys. I ain't even living here with you no more. And then once the Pilgrims left and all the other good people, like, look what happened to Britain, slowly but surely, like, they just fucking, they fell apart, man. We wound up having a better organized society over here based on... And he didn't want to leave. He was trying to tell them, people, like, look, him and John Winthrop. John Winthrop, William Penn came over. You had your landed or aristocracy came over with money, but for the most part, man, they just got here and there's a bunch of land for as far as the eye can see. And it was easy to steal from the Indians because they didn't even have a conception of private property because they were already fucking way more advanced. They're like, look, man, we already see all this shit. Like, there ain't no need for that shit. Like, you guys can live and life is good. Like, life can be good. And they're like, yeah, life can be even better. Look at this shit that we stole from these fucking people, meaning like, hey, we conquered through the Middle Ages and had warfares, and we came up with textiles and shit like this that are highly helpful, and they're warm, and it permits you to go to different parts of the world. And, the Indians like that. They like exchanging the technology. That was the appeal. And then some of the Indians, like, fell off of their whole, like, kind of, like, they wanted... They lost sight of what their ancestors had already figured out. Okay, so then you have she got men like John Winthrop, John Smith shows up, William Penn later on, and George Washington later on. But the initial Pilgrims, they were Puritans, and they showed up and they were ready to chop down fucking trees by hand and build homes by hand. Go hunting. They had food stores. They were ready for all this shit. And, what they weren't ready for was like a massive whaling operation and like massive fucking just the sea in the North Atlantic off the coast of America. You had 3 billion years worth of whales. Think about it. 3 billion years worth of whales. Tell me those people were fucking starving? They had a hard time? That's how the story goes. And then they had to reach out to the Indians, and then that's why we, fucking enslaved them and took their shit. And that's couldn't be further from the truth. Like those Indians, a lot of them died off because they got sick, because their immune systems. Like somebody else comes by with like better technology, and it's like, well, you're coming from a different time zone, going to another time zone, and and this shit still happens, man. Like there's time zones. I mean, you got that fucking ship shows up fucking on like it shows up like clockwork. Okay, everything happens like clockwork, and we got to the point where it was like we skipped it a couple times somehow. Like we had survivors, and we had survivors that we survived the harvest. We kind of put together the world. And then afterwards, like we try to tell people with whatever we could hang on to. Like for example, like if you ain't permitted to have a piece of parchment, man, like the world's gonna collide to or the stars will align to destroy that piece of fucking paper. I've even seen that with my own shit, man. Like for whatever reason, like somebody gave me a free badass printer with like a fucking big old ink reservoir, and then like the fucking thing had to get destroyed inside my car, and fucking ink went everywhere, and just by circumstance, like it didn't come alive, or like, I mean, it was a rather crazy set of circumstances that sent that fucking printer around the interior of my car, my sport van, and it got fucking ink everywhere, all over me, and then it got splashed ink on a couple of my important documents that I could utilize later for all kinds of shit, like, that was an attack on my document. That was an attack on my data. I know exactly what that was. There's no fucking other way to explain it. It was an attack on my data. You guys try to I don't know what... You try to destroy my fucking data. And rather than explain to me, hey, look, Dan, if you hold on to this envelope, this will happen to you because at some point you're going to be in a situation where this is going to happen, and then that's going to happen. And I'm like, all right, okay, I believe you. I'll tear it up. But no, instead we have to have this crazy fucking car chase thing where fucking wind up on the top of a fucking hilltop and fucking, like, Jesus. Yeah, that's where I learned about the shit. Like, go take a dump. Take a dump in the middle of the night on top of a hill, and then you wake up and it's gone. What the fuck? If your car can climb it, man, or a truck. So, like, what is that? Like, what the fuck could have possibly came up here in this abandoned subdivision? And what? And took my shit. So, yeah, so going back to the Pilgrims, the food was plentiful. There's no reason those people fucking starved. How did that happen? Them people are out of their time zone. They weren't supposed to be there. That's my feeling. So everything that could go wrong did go wrong. Like what, you didn't see the fucking whales? Like, you hear these stories about these pre-colonial villages, like where the Puritans, and like they would, like, you would have like one fat rich aristocrat that came over on the boat, and he brought like fucking 80 pounds of salted pork and fucking fish, and he had like like 2 or 3 indentured servants that he had to feed or whatever. But he was this fat motherfucker, and when he went and took a shit in the outhouse, like the other people were so starved for food, and in the winter they would like go run in there, and then like it'd be a race for this guy's fucking turd, and then they would eat his shit. I've read stories like that, and like not like not some story online, like in an actual book, like that somebody published that they did their research. I mean, it don't mean it's true, but I mean, damn. So yeah. I didn't even get out my notebook today. Tell you what, man, I'm gonna cut it short, like 2.5 hours today. Let me just pause it. I'm gonna pause it. I ain't going nowhere. Like nothing changed. It's still gonna be me. I'm in Beelzebub. There's no angle here. Alright, we're back. It was like 5 minutes later. Like, I can't really prove it. I mean, I could have a watch in the background and shit, but I don't even know. Like, look, do you have a pupil? And I just like alright, I get out the book. It had an agenda today, and it gets messy, and it's dark too, and I apologize for that. Oh yeah, so today let's talk about that. Let's go back to the fucking real world issues, right? Like that we got to deal with in our 21st century America that we're in today, right? Because I do want to get political, at some point, because like there's all these fucking people that basically, I mean, they're deniers. These are deniers, and they're starting to come out. They're starting to permeate. Like if you watch the mainstream news, like which I stay away from vehement, with vehemence. I stay away from. I'll watch and I'll pick it apart like fucking immediately. So I'm like, this is a bunch of bullshit, and then you got like these election deniers, and this is what I told you we've already done, man. We've already done this. We stormed the Capitol. We took it apart. Okay, there's fucking look like if it ain't a clear fucking signal that, hey man, like this is the last of the Mohicans here, man, telling you guys like, look, dude, look around you, man, look the fuck around you, okay. So anyway, like this guy, I'm at a park. I stay on public land, what's left of it, what's left of the trees. And this guy's got like $1 million fucking house that abuts, as per like our fucked up equity, inflation, and all that shit. So like we have so this guy's got like a perfectly good he's got his own private road. He's got his own private fucking road, and like and the park has like fucking like big old stumps, like, or like kind of like, I don't know what you'd call it, man. It's a wall made out, like, with every, like, 5 feet, there's, like, a log sticking out of the ground. A post. A thick one, too. And this guy is going to drive through basically what's a golf course. It's a frolf course, like, frisbee golf, disc golf, whatever the fuck you guys want to call it, man. Like, I like calling it frolf. Some people don't like that, whatever. I like it frolf. And so you throw the disc and you get it in the basket. Par 3, just like golf, but it's frisbees. So, frisbee golf, frolf. So this guy like fucking like ekes his truck in, and like, and he's got some gate, and there's like a picnic table that's like the park, I don't know if the park put it there or he somehow managed to put it over there, but there's like probably like eight picnic tables in the park, and there's one over by his gate, and this guy's in like $1 million fucking house. It's like a mansion, and it has a fucking separate mother-in-law to it, and he drives his truck, and he's delivering a fucking thing of bark, like, to his own house, and he don't take his own private road. Instead, he's gonna drive over the golf course to get to his fucked up, sketcy ass gate that abuts it. That's just like kind of like there's a bunch of trees, and then there's his gate, and it looks fucked up, man. Like, I don't know. There's no real reason for you to ever have that, like. I mean, aside to just be a dick, man. Like, I mean, I'm gonna use this as an excuse to drive through the golf course. Ha ha ha! Look at me, right? Like, I mean, my theory is he's another fucking, hypno freak. And he has that gate there, so when there's like a group of teenagers sitting at that table, taking a break after playing, disc golf or whatever, or just hanging out at the park, it's not like you don't have to go frothing, man. Like, you can just actually go there, hang out in the pavilion, sit under a fucking tree if you want. Like, everybody there's cool that goes there, very open-minded people that well, most people are cool there. Like, I mean, there's their fucking your hypno fucks there, and there's because there's gonna be at every public park, man. These people are homeless for a reason, because they try to fuck over everybody they've ever known, and now they're out on the streets. They're somehow got some disability check, or they're like retired, and they're gonna say their little fucking phrases to you. And my theory is that, like, this guy kidnaps people out of the park, says, yeah, come on in, check out my place, and they're like, oh, wow, there's a fucking bunch of teenagers, and then he fucking, you go in there, you don't ever leave, all right? That's the nature of the world we live in. That shit happens all the time, man. Like, there's missing people all the time. We used to put them on the back of milk cartons, but we don't anymore because there's so many. Or it's just been like so fucking like your supply chain's been so far fucking dissociated and compartmentalized. Like you want to get like a fucking separate label of like, a missing member of your community. Like the guy making the milk isn't just gonna slap a sticker on it because that guy is like fucking 1,000 miles away and it's some mega conglomerate factory that fucking owns like the 40 or 50% of the cows, and then there's all these partner farmers and they just like sell their milk to the creamery or the dairy, whatever fucking operation you want to call it, however you want to title it. So like, yeah, man, this guy like is gonna fucking like just drive his fucking, he's gonna like like just, it was fucking like, man, like, are you fucking kidding me, man? You have a private road going to your home, and because like you're gonna drive this truck through a fucking golf course rather than down the private road. Just, I mean, there's no other reason for him to do that aside from the fucking stir up shit. And those kind of people, I'm telling you, like, we don't need those fucking people in our world. We don't need them in our world, okay? Not just our country, just in our world. Just like we don't need fucking, 80-year-olds with fucking mega portfolios that are just like riding around in these fancy whips and fucking like the world is theirs. It's not, man. It's not. The world belongs to the worker. Okay, like, so if you're performing work, like the world belongs to like us, basically. It's not like oh, well, this guy just has more of a right to everything that fucking we do than the next guy, or he was born with it, so we all just succumb to like that power structure. And now it's like, oh, okay, so now like you're gonna be born into like debt slavery, and have to pay all these unfunded liabilities that like our government creates, and then this clever guy with his accountant and his lawyer is just gonna skate like all of that. And so he's going to be born with like this sense of entitlement where it's like, hey man, I own you and I'm going to drive my car or my truck right across your golf course because my private property abuts it, and I'm going to install a gate like a fucking dick right into your golf course. And it's like, well, hold on, man. Like, what kind of, like, where did you come from? Like, where did you learn this stuff? Like, what kind of American are you to, like, even do stuff like that? Like, that just kind of, like blew me. That, like, that guy would drive his truck. And then, and remember, like, the whole park has all these posts to keep vehicles out. Like, the county came in and put posts there to keep people from going in there. People in there. I mean, it's Florida. We got a lot of people got trucks, and they're gonna like drive like their truck through it and be like, oh, have a good time. Like, I mean, like that's why the posts are there to keep people. I mean, I get it. Like, this guy's got a delivery or some like mulch or bark or something to it, but like he's gonna drive his truck across the golf course, like, and he has a private road. He's got a private road. So, like, what? Why did he have to do that? That makes no sense to me. It makes no sense to me at all. And when things don't make sense, it's kind of like, well, let's make sense of it. And what it boils down to is like, okay, this guy got some like right to like be like an asshole as an American. Like, we need to cut that shit out, man. Like, there's no way that like we can ever tolerate that kind of mentality, because it's just gonna kill us in the end. So, like, we don't have time for that no more, man. We're down to like I said, the last of the Mohicans, man. Like, if you're human and you're listening to this, like, you are the resistance, man. Like, we have to resist this stuff. Like, there's no way, like, I'm paying for, like, some guys, that he got kicked off his land, so now they're all going to get free education. How about we all get free education and then a slice of the oil money? Like, that's the same thing. It's, you get this, like, vertically integrated history that teaches us, hey, these people were born with way more than you'll ever fucking have, and now they're able to hire all the lawyers to go write all the laws. And then you can vote red or blue. Like, that don't make any sense. Like, what? Like, and there, and when you're told you have the 300 million people in your country, and who's gonna like pick this apart? Who's gonna pick this apart? Like, we got people for days, right? Like, and they're all educated supposedly because we're Americans, right? We got the best education in the world, we got the best population, we, all this other shit that they tell us, and it's like, none of that's fucking true. Because if it were, then like you wouldn't have there's just there's no way that people wouldn't have revolted. So like everybody's gotta get like their little like slice of the pie, and then they like have somebody that they can control, and that's kind of like what they told you. Like, I mean, you're giving away property for free, and then I'm born. Ugh. So I'm just fucked. Like, so there was nobody that said, hey man, like, what about like my great grandkids? Like, nobody said that. Nobody said that about you. None of them people gave a shit. So why should we give a shit about people that are older today? Like, hey man, like, you didn't change this, you just went with it. And we're all looking around like, what the fuck, man? There's no way. There's no way. And you went with it. Allow me to posit like a situation of a future where you're standing in society, and what you have is based on how you operate or the decisions you made. So picture the future where like a new government, a new country. Picture a new country for us where what you get is based on how you utilized what you had beforehand. Did you have to have a big V8 and make gas 3 times as expensive for everybody else because you had some fucking job that just paid you? Look at me. I get to burn a gallon of gas to convey fucking, 14,000 pounds just to convey me to get to the bank. Because I'm going to go get my money. Let me go to the ATM and fucking burn fucking triple the gas like anybody else would have done. So your gas prices are high because you got all these guys driving around V8s because they got good jobs and you don't. And so even though you're going to like get some shitbox used old car that's a 4-cylinder because that's all you can afford, like you're a young person, right? Like all you can afford. And now your gas prices are going to be like unfairly expensive because of the decisions that people around you are making, and you're just forced to live with that. Like, what? It's time to like make some changes around here, if you ask me. Like special tax for V8s. Yeah, man, you want to drive a 14,000 pound fucking truck with no tow package, just basically because you like the way it looked. You didn't have enough fucking IQ points to determine that, hey, this isn't economically or thermodynamically favorable. So why don't I, buy a more practical vehicle and help out my fellow man and my great grandkids? Yeah, if you're looking at this in the future, like there's people just driving around that they don't give a fuck. They're burning up gas, they got whatever their inheritance, or they have some good job somehow where like their own fucking hands and merits didn't earn them that job. It was just like circumstance. They knew someone. They knew someone that got them that job. I mean, I don't care. You're even making $100,000 a year, man. Like, what the fuck are you driving a V8 for? Why do you need to go that fast? And then they make everybody else go fast because now they got this big truck and they're behind you. It's not the Aveo lady either, like she's a little different story. Like, no, lady in a fucking Aveo up your ass. It's like, all right, man, like I'm trying to conserve gas, so I'm going to go a little bit under the speed limit. I'm going to accelerate slowly, and I ain't stopping at no lights. So I'm going to coast through every single light. And the guy behind me in his big ass truck, right around me, cuts me off back in front of me, only to waste his brakes. So now my brakes are more expensive and my gas is more expensive because this guy can't see fucking 200 yards down the road? Does that make any fucking sense? Why are we sharing a planet with them? Why? Why are we sharing a world with limited resources? Unless that guy knows something I don't, like maybe the world's got unlimited resources. And God, I gotta tell you, well, don't you believe in God? You got eternal life. I can do whatever I want. Sure. I mean, even though your life shit, don't you believe in reincarnation? You're gonna come back because you suffered this time. You're gonna get good next time. Fuck no, I don't believe in none of that bullshit you're trying to spin me on, man. What the fuck are you thinking? Why the fuck are you driving that? I grill everybody down, man. If you got some fucking truck, something like that, dude, and you ain't got no practical reason to even fucking own it, I'm gonna fucking look at you like you're a total piece of shit. Because my gas prices don't need to be $3 a fucking gallon. They were at $4 for whatever reason, but, you know, like, nobody's traveling. You got a whole pandemic, but, like, for some reason our gas prices are, you know, just like, what? That don't make no fucking sense. What happened to all our oil fields? And you got massive oil coming out of the fracking and all that other fucking shit. Like, out in Pennsylvania, like, I mean, what's going on here? So we're either being lied to, and then we got people here wasting, just totally wasting. So we need to get organized and start a new government. We need to put our government back together because it's like non-existent. I'll tell you right now, our government's non-existent. And what's going to wind up happening is we're going to grow up. We're going to, as we mature, we're going to be living in this total fucking world of shit. And there's going to be nobody to, like, really, like, blame. Then people are going to be all, like, dead, or, like, they'll be in their retirement. And then you got, like, the fake news and the fake elections saying, oh, yeah, well, they got, you know. But then it's like, well, you notice when they got, like, the House and the Senate that's controlled by, say, Republican, or the House, the Senate, and the presidency, they can pass any law they want. And then they don't pass any laws that make no fucking sense that they should have. Like, it's like, all right, well, you had all three. Well, it should have been easy to streamline your laws. What happened? You know? Where's our due? Where's our slice? Like, so because, like, somebody went out, like, 150 years ago and put 4 stakes around, like, this huge ranch and said, hey, this is all mine, and then they discovered oil under it, so that guy and his whole family just gets to be rich forever. And my fucking property, like, I can't buy a house because that guy took way more than, you know, like, so, like, the people, like, 150 years ago couldn't extrapolate a fucking, like, an equation and be like, all right, our population growth is such that this is this, you know. So no, man, you can have 1 acre to homestead on. You don't get to just go put 4 stakes in, like, here, it's the fucking Louisiana Purchase, you can have as much fucking as you want. And then, like, so you had these families that, like, took all this fucking money and all this shit, like, and now it's all basically, like been kind of handed down or chopped up, parcelized, and then these big companies came along, did the same shit, and we didn't get no cut of that. So, but I still got to pay in my taxes for, like, those Indians, their children get free university education because I pay for it, but I didn't get no slice. I didn't get no slice of that fucking oil money, so why the fuck am I paying for it? That don't make no sense. Like, who took their land? Like, who's living on their land right now? Make them pay extra property tax. There you go, that pays for their education. Why are you taking my money? That don't make no fucking sense. Where's my slice? Where's my slice of the whaling money? Where's my slice of the bison money? Where's my slice of the beaver pelt money? Where's my slice of the oil? Like, all that. And the equity in the property. Fuck that, man. We need to nationalize that shit. Nationalize all of it. I don't see anything wrong with that. Like, I agree with having rules in society. Hey, don't bully nobody. Don't kill nobody. Don't just take their shit. Like, you gotta have good reason. And now a good reason is like, okay, I see a bunch of fucking empty houses in my fucking community, and I see a bunch of empty businesses, so I see this empty infrastructure, and there should be a for sale sign on every fucking one of them. I mean, the only thing here is you got 1 for lease sign down the street, and there's a burnt down building. Like, the building, the roof is literally caved in, and it's fucking burnt, man. But it's still for lease, you know? Like, what the fuck, man? That shit don't make no fucking sense. Where is our slice of it? Like, I won't pay. So I'll tell you all right now, like, it's all contrived, and if you're a young person, man, you are fucked. You are so fucked. The only way you're ever gonna get a slice of actual property is like when we reorganize our society and you start taxing people based on the decisions that they make. Okay? A decision-based tax. So if you want to make bad decisions that are unfavorable for our society, our children, our great grandkids, because, hey, longevity trends, I have every expectation to live past 100, right? Just saying, every expectation to live past 100. Fuck, my grandmother made it to 90. She came over on a fucking boat to a rat hole in fucking Ellis Island and fucking, 5th grade education. That one made it to 90. Well, shit, I got every expectation to live way past 90 then, man. Holy shit, I took care of myself. She just fucking, she ate oatmeal. I mean, I'm like oatmeal fucking concentrate, like oatmeal squared. Like, I got science behind me, right? So, but, like, the way I see it is that the world is basically controlled by all these people that just inherited a bunch of shit, and then they said, we made up this society that nobody can take our stuff, and now we're just gonna keep our fucking foot on the necks of all the young people that come up. Yeah, fuck you, man. So I gotta figure out some way how to, like, shystily fucking fuck you out of your property. Oh, man, we're just going to organize, create a new government, and then we're going to appropriate it because you ain't doing shit with it anyway. Like, you're just throwing money in a black hole. Your fucking whole portfolio is, like, growing fucking companies around the world, and, like, you don't care, oh, I'm making money, and then you just, like, die with it, or you don't even spend it. Why don't you open a restaurant at one of these fucking banks that are fucking, like, just went out of business? I mean, they're all over. You're worth fucking $500,000, man. You can't fucking open up a roast beef shop? Seriously? I mean, you can't. I mean, what? Yeah, why? Because you're so detached from society, you have no fucking clue what people even want. You couldn't even start a business if you wanted to. And at this point, I'm like looking around saying, man, hey, like, a lot of me wants to just dip, but a lot of me too, because, man, I'll just go fucking go in an insane asylum, man. I'll go get me a disability check within a year. I'll get out and fucking, because I put like a couple decades in, but then I'm just passing the buck on to somebody else, right? Like, and then I just dip up. I got my check for now. I got my universal basic income, and I pay my car payment. I take care of my car. I buy a practical car with a lifetime warranty. Man, my every expectation, my Honda is going to go for half a million miles. So, alright, there, boom, and then I just go pitch a tent somewhere or go build a cabin in the fucking woods in the Pacific Northwest, and alright, like, yeah, I could just dip and be like, alright, deuces, fuck all y'all. But I feel obligated to the young people because they have no idea the fucking pile of shit that's been left to them by a bunch of negligent fucking assholes. And by that I mean, like, pretty much, like, anybody born prior to, like, 1970, if you're not, like, a business owner, like, you retired and you got $250,000 in the bank and you ain't fucking putting your money back into your own country, we don't need you here, man. And that shit that you think is yours, we're coming for it. So how are you going to stop us? Like, think about it. How are you going to stop us? How would you stop us? The police force? Police force ain't going to do nothing for you, man. There's like a bunch of people come in your house to take all your shit, cut your power every day, man. We're gonna cut your fucking power. We're gonna cut your internet cable. We're gonna cut your fucking your cable modem cable, like, or what, like what are you gonna do? You're gonna call the police and be like, can't you do something? And they're like, well, what would you suggest? 10 fucking 20 somethings came in your house and robbed you blind, fucking beat the shit out of you. Well, I guess you're going to have to move. Why don't you put your house up for sale? Yeah. So it's one of those 20-year-olds for, like, fucking what it's really worth. $20,000 for your fucking trailer on your acre, man. That's what that shit's worth. I don't care. We've already busted out all the windows in these empty houses. You're like, oh, property here. No, man, look. See, every fourth house, because we know it's empty and some fucking Wall Street fuck owns it. Some property management company owns it. Or some person, Ram Dass Singh owns it. Reverend Ram Dass Singh owns it. But he don't live there. Because you know how we know? Because we got kids and we went there trick-or-treating. That's why Halloween's really important, guys. Halloween's a very important holiday. It's how you find out how many fucking homes are empty in your fucking community. And be like, yeah, why is this house empty? How come it's not for sale? And the county's like, well, somebody's paying the taxes on it, so we're going to police it. And it's like, all right, so some fucking computer algorithm or financial derivative is paying the taxes on this, or the government itself is just printing it and it's keeping like this police force in operation that you really shouldn't. Like, based on the population, you should have police, not based on fucking property tax and how much fucking, oh, we've inflated the value artificially of all the houses in town, even though half of them are empty, and we pay all the property tax on them to have these fucking like little fucking armies run around. Yeah, man. Guess what? We learn quick. Okay, we learn quick. So when you start looking around your neighborhood and like 1 out of every 3 houses are empty, man, a guy like me, like, or we get accountants together, and we say, hey, man, there's nobody living in this house, but yet they're paying the taxes on it. Let's either just break into it and pretend to rent it from ourselves, like Airbnb it, or something like that. Make money off of it. You can go that route. Or you just bash out all the fucking windows and all the bandos, and believe me, man, properties will start going up for sale, and they'll be cheap. Because the AI system that controls all of the outputs is going to determine that something's wrong, number one, and that there's a bunch of repairs that need to be made, and there's nobody to make the repair. Because every time somebody calls a window guy, like, it's like, oh yeah, I'm Reverend Ramdas Singh. Like, all right, well, the property's empty. Can you show up? And they're like, well, I'd prefer it not be empty. I mean, you got is there anybody with a key, or you can meet me, or something like that? Like, and then, when they see who comes out, it's gonna be like some fake realtor lady that has like fucking a Ziploc freezer bag full of keys that are just been, and then like the watchers will be out there being like, all right, man, like, well, who the fuck are you? Because we know fucking you don't own this property. And then when you ask that person, well, what's the property? Like, when she don't know no fucking details about the property owner, she don't know squat. Like, I'm gonna follow that fucking person home. Yeah. How many other keys you got? Yeah. What other addresses do you know? How do you know this? How did you come upon this knowledge? Who contacted you? Oh, it was the county, Reverend Ramdas. I don't know. I just got an email and got paid, man. So I came out with the key. What do you want from me? Well, how do you have the keys? Hand them over. Well, I'm a realtor. Well, who are you a realtor for? Well, I'm independent. Oh, really? Yeah, so in other words, you just get these phone calls and you get to make fucking $300,000 a year just delivering a key to property managers whenever they show up and they get to... So it's like all this fake economy that keeps like these fucking people in these fancy homes, and then they don't make so much money they don't ask no fucking questions. Fuck that. Make it so costly where the infrastructure, once the infrastructure starts getting destroyed, like, I'm sorry, man, there should be fucking homes for sale everywhere, and they're not, and they're empty. Alright? Go out on Halloween, or go pretend to like canvas or sell some shit, man. Like, go pretend to canvas for like some cause, and just go knock on people's fucking doors. Have some kind of bullshit story somebody actually answers. Be like, oh, all right, But, like, because, like I said, it's not a robot in there. It's not like androids, man. Like, these are, like, Beelzebub people. Like, they're fucking human beings. They're going to have to, like, have inputs they need to eat and shit like that. So, if there's somebody living in there, go there with a list of everybody who lives on that road that you're going to do. And you can get this from your county, your GIS data. And then make a list. And then go to these properties and be like, oh, Mr. Singh? Mr. Singh? And then they'll be all Beelzebub and be like, oh, yeah. And they'll have all the information that they are him, but they ain't going to look like no fucking Mr. Singh. All right? It'll be someone else, or it'll be some squatter in there, doing the same shit what you want to do. Okay, don't fuck with that person. Just go to the next house. All right, like, you don't want to like, oh, he's got the bando. We know, because that's gonna tear us apart and make us. But at the same time, keep an eye on that too, and make sure that guy's not some fucking sketchball in your community. Like, does he know his neighbors, or is he some fucking hypno-pedo guy that's gonna fucking eat kids? Come on. There's a lot going on, all right? There's a lot going on. We need to be accountable. We have to be accountable for our communities. You start busting out windows, setting places on fire because they're abandoned, man. Trust me, people will start fucking selling their houses then. Like, those houses will go up for sale. You don't even see a for rent sign in front of them. It ain't even online. So if you want to get in your community, in your county, and then print all that shit, or just organize all the information, and then go analyze who's living where. Which of these are empty. If it's an empty house, why is it not for sale or for rent? What's the deal here? Then just go take it. Or burn it. Or fucking smash out the windows. See if anybody repairs it. And once you're living in a community where like 1 out of every 4 windows in the community is smashed, or it looks like the plaza down the street where like the middle store burnt down, but it's still for a lease. You could still call it probably a lease building. Like, the person leasing it probably don't even know it's fucking burned. It's probably because there's nobody actually on that other, like, you'll call that number for a lease and either no one's going to answer, or it'll be like some fake person, and then like some Beelzebub is going to come out to meet you. And they're like, oh, wow, I didn't know it was burned. Holy shit, and they'll snap right out of being Beelzebub, and then like the AI will get the information, and then maybe like a property management company will show up. So, but that's what we got to do. That's what we got to do. We got to do that, and we got to start fucking twisting the arms of these fucking old people in our country and say, hey, man, it's time for you to pay your due because you left us a big pile of shit, and you're cruising around a fucking $80,000 vehicle, and I don't like what I see. I see you saying, ha, what's mine is mine, and fuck all you. Yeah, all right, motherfucker. Yeah, see how that works for you when fucking, like, your police force is spread so thin. They're so thin because they get all these calls on bullshit. Today we're going to come at your house. Believe me. They're going to get a bunch of bullshit calls from fucking computer scripts. And then they're going to have to follow up. And they're probably going to go to these empty houses that we already know are empty. And then you're going to get the cop going around like fucking, with the flashlight. And you're going to get the neighbor come out. And everybody's going to look stupid. And you're going to be like fucking getting your ass beat in your bedroom while you're sleeping, yelling at fucking Hannity. Okay? Because you wanted to do this to the rest of us. Fuck that. Fuck you. So you better get on the same fucking page as the rest of us young people, man. I ain't even considered young. Like, I'm like an elder millennial. Man, this shit's coming down the pike. I'm ahead of the curve, all right? So you guys better fucking start putting some fucking money back in this world and start selling these fucking houses for dirt cheap. I don't give a shit if that fucking 80-year-old guy, if he loses all his equity in his home. I don't care if he dies upside down on his mortgage. You better start selling these fucking empty houses, and you better start selling them dirt cheap. Like, there's no demand for them because you only got fucking 100 million people in this country, tops. There ain't no 300 million people here, all right? So, and I see a bunch of empty fucking houses. They're not for rent and they're not for sale. And it's basically like, all right, what gives? Why are there so many homeless people? Like, why do Americans got to pay fucking $3 a gallon for gas? And why are we paying fucking $1,500 a month for a 1-bedroom? That makes no sense at all. And if you don't pay the $1,500, then it just sits there empty, and somehow that's still profitable for the property owner. Like, the supply and demand basically demands that house keep being, like, they keep putting it up for rent, and sooner or later it's going to hit the sweet spot where, hey, somebody will rent it, and that sweet spot's about like $400. Like, come on, man. Like, you better start doing that, or we're going to start destroying this fucking infrastructure. So if that's what you want, hey, we do it in an organized fashion and with the least amount of pain for everybody. But these houses better start going up for sale. You guys better start doing that. Because we're not fucking stupid, man. We're not stupid. You get a guy like me start organizing people, and you're going to be in a fucking world of hurt, dude. So you better fix this shit. And you better fix it fucking soon. And I'm talking to everybody in fucking government. I'm talking to anybody that even has a fucking inkling. And anybody that's 70 or 80 years old fucking sitting in a $300,000 home not doing fucking shit. Spend the money, man. Spend your fucking money. This fucking world makes me sick. Thank you for listening. Stan sits down, man. I love you guys. Stay strong. Don't give up. Do not give up. Take what I say, man, as fucking gospel, man. I am not gonna lie to you. All right, these fucking buildings are empty, and somehow, some way, they're getting, the taxes are getting paid on them through dead people. These people don't exist. They exist on paper, and that's it. And if the county's actually getting the money or not, We don't know that. I mean, based on like the money this fucking county I'm in, like, man, they should have people out there picking the weeds in every fucking park there is. But there ain't. There ain't. So, like, I mean, come on. And the private property, man, start busting them fucking windows open, man. The county's not gonna come and fix the windows. So then, like, that piece of property, like, it's gonna get rained, it's gonna get mold. Like, sooner or later, like, the bank is gonna have to come out, and then they're gonna have to admit that these people just disappeared, and we're the ones paying the tax on it. We haven't received a mortgage payment in 4 years from Mr. Reverend Ram Dass Singh. But somehow Mr. Reverend Ram Dass Singh fucking cuts a check for taxes? No, the bank's paying them taxes. They'd have to be. So, and then they'll have to come out and fix the window. And then at that point, they're going to be like, yeah, Mr. Ram Dass Singh's upside down on his mortgage by 4 years. This is going to become a house for sale. And it'll go up. And you start doing that around town, suddenly you'll find like fucking a couple hundred houses go up for sale around town. Yeah, and they'll all be dirt cheap. And then you can flip them when shit turns around, when the population comes back. Alright. Thank you for listening, guys. We're going to get through this. As Dan sits down.